No, we don't.
3 hours and 36 minutes. Here we go. Am I introducing or are you introducing?
It's your show.
Oh, hello. And welcome, everybody, to now showing episode 9, I believe, of my birthday stream.
Something like that.
This means it's our number. We're over the 24-hour mark on this episode. Or I think we've been over the 24-hour mark last episode. But either way, we're going on day 2 of the stream of our favorite movies. And we are starting with the year 2014. With me is, I believe everybody's been on here before. So it's always good to be able to convince people to come back here out of either pity or masochist, or I'm not sure what it is. But hello, Haley. How are you doing?
That's what I was laughing at.
Yeah, blowing in the wind, as
When I
always.
say that, I'll be right back.
Yeah. And, before we get into it, I want to introduce our panel, if anybody somehow doesn't know, and go around and check in with everybody. I think that we're all feeling a little bit low energy right now between the weather or life or whatever, but I'm not sure what that noise is. Maybe you, Chris, so you may want to mute when you're not talking.
Yeah, I think so.
But if you can just mute, perfect.
There you go.
So yeah, that sums up how this day's been for me. But I have a feeling as this stream goes on, we're all going to come back to life because we're talking about our favorite thing, which is movies. Before we get into that, I'm going to introduce everybody and check in with everybody. We may talk about a little bit of movie news here as well before jumping in because the stream isn't long enough. But we'll see. Below me is a favorite of mine. All of you are favorites of mine, though, so I'm going to be saying that for the next 5 people as well. Christina, looking good with my glasses, kind of twinning it up with me today with the black and glasses. I see you. How you doing? I like when we match.
Yeah, I just wanted to be under you and matching you at the same time, so goal achieved.
Yeah, exactly. I feel very comfortable in this position.
Today's been a day. I'm excited to be here just to kind of lift my spirits a little bit up. So hopefully that works.
Yeah, same for different reasons, but yeah, also a day. Hey, Rue, how you doing?
I'm here. I'm going back and forth from talking on the phone to 50 million messages to this being the first of 3 different things I'm on today. I don't know. I'm all over the place. In a good way, I guess. But it's good to be here for like 2 hours to talk about 2 years. So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad expectations are properly set here. I thank you for making the time. Everybody's starting to get a little more busy, whether it's with the million streams everybody's started, or Chico is patrolling the streets here. So Chris, how you doing?
Did he freeze?
Yeah, it looks like it. Let me.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's got
chef's kiss. Tony, I wanted to know how you were doing anyways.
Hi, I am Chris. I am doing well. I get called every other fucking name.
Yeah, Tom, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm now James. Someone keeps calling me James.
James.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's been a long day, but this should be fun. I get to talk about a movie no one's ever heard about for 2014, so yay.
Yeah, and I'm already getting messages from people who aren't on who are threatening to throw hands if their movie's not picked. So it's getting to the more emotional years for sure. Where there's I had a huge list, but before we get to that, I don't have a segue. But Peggy, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Looking forward to naming some movies here that I don't think anybody else is going to name. Hopefully, so we'll see. Find out.
That's the idea. I'm always looking forward to your thoughts on this, and we'll see how we do here as we go. I just got a message from Bill here, so we may do some reshuffling to get Bill on. Bill says he can be on for 2015. So Tony, we'll figure it out. But that's perfect. How we do it here, right on the stream. Hopefully we get Chris back. He's in the middle of a tornado, so I hope he's not gone. But he just said bad connection. So, anyways,
I'll sort Chris out. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. We'll work through this. Tony, go ahead and your thoughts before we jump in or anything.
I was about to say, I was gonna just as I was sorting this out, just say I'll make a man out of you. Let's discuss.
Yes. Yeah. I guess.
Oh,
we had breaking news right before this kind of I guess not breaking at this point, but Mulan is going to be on demand when? Next week?
September 4th.
September 4th, which is when? A month? I don't even know what date. Okay, I didn't even know what day it is. Is it August? Is it May? March?
It's August 4th.
Okay, good. I don't really care about this news. Rue, what's your reaction to this? $30 for Mulan seems like a bargain even for this hater.
Maybe. Yeah, if I'm keeping it 2 Virgils, I feel like this is not that big of that much at all. I mean, if you're there by yourself, yeah, $30 is a lot. But you can share Disney Plus accounts. You can have people be like, "Yo, give me your login and password. I'll pass you $15." That's how much you made for a movie anyway. And for me, Mulan was a big deal. So I'm excited to finally actually see it. And I think $30 kind of seems like the right testing ground for a big movie like that going straight to on demand. If they did this shit for like Trolls, or you said it, King of Staten Island, they'd be out their damn minds. But Mulan seems like the one to try it out with, especially because it's a family-based movie. So most of the time you're going to be spending like $60. Chico.
Chico's very, very mad.
It's been a day for Chico. Yeah. Well, we'll just let him go ahead and bark. Yeah.
But yeah, since it's like a family-based movie, most of the time you're spending a good $60, $70, I think, to take your family to go see this movie in the first place. So I'm not mad at them. They had to try it out soon because we ain't getting out of quarantine till at least 2020, whatever. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's definitely an indication of where we're, I think, heading for the rest of this year and probably into 2021. Let's be honest. But
I was going to say as well, this is kind of a massive blow to cinemas because this was going to be this and Tenet were going to be the 2 temples of like, come back to the cinema, we have Mulan. Mm-hmm. It's like now they've lost out, just like, especially Disney as well, being the ones that are like saying, hang on a minute, it might be that we have lost the cinema experience because I know over here, especially, like there's already like one of the biggest chains that's closed down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if anybody wants to take a trip to New Jersey, we have not 1, but 2 drive-in movies. And one of them is about 5 minutes from my home. Not that Doug would come hang out, because I saw him in the chat. He's trying to get everybody's Venmo money. Plus, he doesn't show up when he says he's going to. But I'm just saying, one of them is the oldest drive-in in the state, and that one's baller. And they always do double features, so you get like bang for your buck. But I'm curious if they would release it to drive-ins, if they're going to do on demand.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they will because I think Disney wants movie theaters to fail because I think Disney wants to buy the movie theaters so that they become Disney theaters and then they can only show Disney movies. And Disney ends up benefiting because Disney is the devil.
I'm like a 90% sure that's illegal because that used to happen in the past.
You're like half the shit that Disney is doing currently that it was at one point illegal. It's all illegal till it's not because you got all the
we do not want to be shut down by the overlord. So
they just couldn't take me on top of Christina anymore. I get it.
I thought Tony did that because you were like being controversial.
No, that was Mickey who did that.
Yeah, Mickey.
Mickey is the downvote.
Oh yeah, I should say quickly, if anyone's watching this, please like and subscribe both to Feature Presentation and also to the reviews. Because we're both very close to 150 subscribers, and it'd be nice to hit it this month.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
triple digits.
This channel more than deserves it. So, I've been trying to plug it, but you know how ineffective my plugs are, so I'll try to plug it less. But yeah,
all right. So
2013,
14,
that the year?
14.
Great. 14. I have to get the year wrong. I have to get the year wrong at least one time on the stream. It's part of the bingo card.
Before we get cracking, I'll just quickly explain to the way this works. Is that we try and bring as many people in now. There's one person which screen has a StreamYard link that hasn't checked it. So Doug Castle, check your fucking messages. If you are interested in being on, best option is to message me. Don't message Aaron because he'll get distracted for 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's ugly.
We'll try and set an order out as much as possible and try and get people in and out to discuss stuff. It should be all fun. Please throw all your choices in the chat and stuff like that and have fun.
Thank you. Yeah, and Chico is very, very reactive right now. It's been a long day for him. So.
Hey,
Hi, Doug.
I
How
heard
are
my
you?
name.
Yeah,
heard my name.
we summoned you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm here. I promise. If we hang out this Friday, it's gonna be a promise that I'm gonna be there.
Okay. Well, I better get up there then. I'm only a few states away, but yeah. Let's hop into 2014. One of my years where I have the most, and we're gonna have someone else go. I'm gonna go grab Chico. He's really having a moment here. So go ahead, somebody else lead
poor
off.
buddy.
Yeah, it's okay. It's been a long day for him.
Fair. Well, I was gonna say, where was everyone in 2014? Because this is, it always feels with these. It was like for the past this is like the first time we've all really gone to like, oh yeah, we're actually like viable adults for the most part. There's no, apart from Peggy who
I'd been an adult for quite some time at this point.
I know,
in
but it's like the majority of people that have been on has just been like, oh, I was only 12 when that in 2008, so I can't really remember much, and it just breaks your soul.
There's a lot of it.
But like now we're getting into the part where it's just like, oh, everyone was adults. Was everyone going to the cinema a lot at this time, or?
I'm 34 at the time, so yeah, I've been to the movies many a time that year. Living in Chicago. Not much has changed in the past 6 years, really.
Yeah, Anthony, we went every week.
Yeah, I was explaining on the show yesterday that I watched the game at like age 7, so I've been going to the cinemas for forever. But 2014, I was in my 3rd year of teaching, officially an adult, already graduated college and stuff. So yeah, that's where I was, Northern California.
Whoa. Yeah. Teacher salary, pay us more, please.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Sorry.
I was fresh out of college, being an audio engineer for the time, and spending money that I really didn't have to go see movies. There was that. Audio engineers don't get paid a lot of money unless you actually know people.
This was the best period of time in my life for going to the cinema because I was working at a place where literally the cinema was across the road from it. So every lunch I would always go over to get a coffee, and then just like once a week I would just go, screw it, I'm gonna go watch the new film out. Why not? I wonder
why you don't have a job there anymore.
Yikes!
Because I'm fired. I got fired. Okay. Thanks, Peggy. Thanks, Peggy.
No problem.
Yeah, we definitely should have a show one day talking about all the jobs we've been fired from, because this community has plenty of those stories. Yeah, let me tell you about Bed Bath & Beyond on another stream.
Let me tell you about McDonald's, my first job.
Rita's Water Ice.
I got sacked once for being too ugly.
Oh.
That is a true story. I was
Abercrombie and Fitch?
No. I wish it was this shitty restaurant. I completely derailed this, but fuck it. So it's this really shitty restaurant, and it was the owner of the thing came in for like for the first time that I was there a month after I started working there. I literally was like, I was more of a chunky lad at the time, and she went, "You're a big lad, aren't you?" It's like, you probably should stay in the kitchen a bit today, and just like then afterwards, you're just like, "Yeah, we don't really think you're the right material for this place."
Oh no, I've gotten the right material line before.
Yeah, but that's your personality.
Yeah, that's
the whole package. Thank you so much. It's my spirits are my spirits are already.
All right, so 2014, we were all grown up.
Oh yeah, 2014. What?
Go on, Aaron. Your show.
Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna start with 2014. At this point, I was an age, like 24 or something, some really irrelevant mid-20s year. But I really was, continuing to grow into my film self. So a lot more adult picks on my list for 2014. I won't name any of the other ones because I think they both will get picked, my top ones. But I'll go with one that is a popular pick in this community, but I think for good reason. It's one of the best music films of all time, one of the best mentor-mentoree relationships of the 21st century. Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, Whiplash. this movie is fantastic. It has one of my favorite final scenes ever. And I'm a huge fan of music, not a musician myself. I have no musical skills. So watching a movie about it kind of adds an extra kind of bit of magic to it overall. But J.K. Simmons kind of finally getting the credit he deserved after this movie. I've been a fan of his for a long time. And just I'll use the U word, underrated. So in this movie just kind of got him into the like nation's like awareness. He's gotten a lot more roles after this. He got a show that didn't work out, but he got to star in a show that was pretty good counterpart that no one watched. But just overall, I love this movie. I think the direction is really effective. And any thoughts on Whiplash from anybody on the panel?
I liked it, but I kind of think it's a bit overrated. You guys all go nuts for it. I'm like, it's good. It's not that good.
Okay.
I love this.
J.K.
movie.
Simmons gives one of the best performances of 2014. He is literally a jazz teacher. Like, I've known these people, and they're this psychotic. Two of the most damning words ever to be given out to anybody is good job. Correct. 100%. This is my favorite movie of 2014. I figured it was going to get taken early, so I have backups. But no, this movie is phenomenal. He deserves it. He brought if you guys know his filmography or what he's done on TV, this is his character that he played in Oz.
Yes.
110% just brought out into a film, and it's perfect. I'm like, I love this. But yeah, it's a great pick. It's one of my favorite from 2014.
Yeah. Aaron spoke two truths. He said that J.K. Simmons finally got the credit he deserved, because he definitely did. He also mentioned he has no music skills, and if you were watching any of the rap game yesterday.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. Chico is like being like really ridiculous. Yeah. If you have not seen the show Oz and you have an HBO Max, HBO Go,
yes,
watch this show. It is going to have so many of those that guys in the show. It has like the most that.
I feel like Oz.
Yeah,
Oz was what The Wire was before The Wire came out, and got so much more underrated because The Wire took its place.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's at some point, Tony, we need to have like an overall like favorite TV show stream after this is over. That can be the next part of this stream to continue it. We're definitely, because
no reaction.
I mean, there's so many TV shows to talk about, and Oz is one of my favorite of all time. There's nothing highbrow about Oz at all. It is visceral, like raw. And it's even, I think it still has some of the most hardcore moments ever in a show to this day.
Oh, gosh.
It was.
Oh, yeah. So we're talking about Whiplash.
It's 20 years old.
Hi, Jacoby.
Back to Whiplash.
I think
just like a teacher, keep him on task.
We'll get Jacoby as co-host for that show. That'll be no worries.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was going to say, in regards to Whiplash, it very much feels like a one-person movie. It's very much like J.K. Simmons is at a 10, everyone else is about 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of Miles Teller to begin with, so him play, like, I would say, just like, and it's like, and Supergirl sadly wasn't that great in that as well.
Okay.
And just everyone else just felt, yeah, must have been nuts.
I know.
So honestly, all three of the movies I was considering, I consider pretty 1 to 2 person movies, if I'm being honest. So it was a kind of a theme of this year's, like this year had a lot of powerhouse performances, like kind of centered around not the most creative story, but how it was done was so like perfectly executed, it still works. Whiplash, I'm not saying it's the most creative story. We've seen pretty much the entire thing before. The way it was executed, I just think was almost like perfect. So yeah, that like was my pick. And yeah, I very much, Paul Reiser also very, very good. I agree. So
100%.
And I thought this was Miles Teller's best performance. So I guess if you don't like him, that doesn't say much, but yeah.
Watch Two Night Stand.
That's I have not seen Two Night Stand, but
It's
man,
not bad.
that title makes me kind of want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. So, but that's rom-coms for you. They're beautiful. And, let's go to. How about we go to? You know what? We're gonna go to Doug. We're gonna go clockwise here.
Cool.
Headband Doug is back.
Yeah, headband's back. I like it. I got a few different styles. I have a Galaxy one, and I have it. Yeah, it's flat. Anyway, I'm gonna go with.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with a movie that I saw in the drive-thru and I fell in love with. I think it's a great adaptation or a great kind of new age horror movie. And it deals with sexually transmitted diseases. I'm going with It Follows. This movie is fucking phenomenal. If you have not watched this movie, it's not so scary. It's more horrifying in the tense of like everything's going on. Basically, you have sex with somebody and then something tries to kill you, and you pass it along and you keep passing it along and you keep passing it on.
It's a metaphor, Christina.
It's a metaphor for STDs. Anyway, no, I saw this movie in at the Delsey Drive-In. Funny. No, I saw it with another movie that I hope doesn't get mentioned on this at all. Unfriended. That movie was trash.
I don't think
so glad that I saw this. But no, I think this movie is the tense moments are super tense. The emotional moments are really there. It's something that kind of like it's the reason I like Midsommar so much. I like the kind of emotional relationships that you get in the film. And I think this movie is, yes, extremely tense throughout and one giant fucking jump scare. You are not wrong, Jacoby. Also, if you're not a fan of horror, it's not really scary. There's just one jump scare, really. I blew it out of proportion. It's one jump scare. But this is a great enter point to horror if you're not a fan of horror.
Jacoby has a lot of energy right now in the comments. There's no way he keeps this up. He must be new to these streams to be firing off comments this quickly. Jacoby, pace yourself, buddy. You're in for 3.5 more hours here. We're 25 minutes in. But, oh, man, Tony, I just saw Tony's micro reaction to my statement there. But, yeah, I love this movie. This is sorry, Tony, did I cut you off?
I was just going to say Peggy has access to the account, so I'm going to bet in 2 hours. Bye.
You don't mean that.
I'll adjust you lot.
Yeah, but definitely not. He wants this channel to keep going. Yeah, I love this movie, Doug. I'm surprised that this was picked, but yeah, it's like overall like a really, really beautiful movie. The director, his other movie will be brought up in 2018 or 19. I mean.
18.
So, 18. Yeah. Well, it was 19 over here, so we'll figure it out for next time. But yeah, I really like Under the Silver Lake also. Just overall, this director knows how to work with color and just the score also I think has been brought up a few times. But yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much someone who's not a horror fan would enjoy this one, if I'm being honest though. I think I kind of gotta be an appreciator of the genre in order to like. This is a pretty deep horror cut, so like I would not suggest this to maybe if there's anybody on the stream right now who is not into horror.
I will say that Anthony did describe this movie to me like in extreme detail, and it sounded very, very interesting. I just don't like being scared, so I don't want to watch it.
You're only gonna get scared once, I promise.
But you're gonna be uncomfortable throughout.
You'll be uncomfortable, but you will only get scared once. You like thrillers, right? You like
it's
thrillers?
kind of like living through my 20s, so it's fine.
yeah, accurate. Rui, did you see this movie? Are you a horror fan? You're not a horror fan.
No, I'm not a horror fan. I will watch horror films, but I haven't really watched horror films until basically consistently just once Get Out came out. That's when I started watching more. But horror's not my thing. That big of a thing.
Get Out is fantastic.
That's like the first horror that I actually watched all the way through without it being like slightly comedic, like Scream and stuff. Yeah, this looks very interesting. I've not heard of it. And I've heard of David Robert Mitchell, but I've not heard of It Follows. So I'll give it a watch when I feel brave.
Yeah, I think you'll like. I think I had really solid performances too for like this kind of movie where the kind of teen actors could just mail it in and make it schlocky too. So good choice, Doug. Tony, on to your selection of a movie we've never heard of, so we can stare at the screen for a second.
All right, screw it, I'm going to do two because I'm going to do one very quickly because it's a documentary no one's heard of. You've probably heard of it because Taika Waititi got the rights for it. It's called Next Goal Wins. It's about a micro island football team. It's an incredible sports documentary. If you're in like the American Samoa in 2001 lost 31-0 to Australia in a professional match, and then they got in they went the entire world and just said, please, we need someone that knows football. We just need someone that knows a little bit about football.
What's
and
it
they
called?
got this Next Goal Wins.
Thank you.
It's a great documentary. If you, as I said, Taika Waititi is helming it for a feature length. I think Andy Serkis is playing the Dutch coach, so it's going to be great. But the one that I'm actually going to talk about is because Christy has mentioned it. Probably the greatest children's film of the 2010s.
Oh man,
the goddamn bear from the deepest, darkest Peru, Paddington Bear is legitimately one of the greatest films of the 2010s, let alone children's film. They are fantastic. Then the sequel is even better than the first, but this one with Nicole Kidman, the whole family, getting to know the family. Like Ben Whishaw is the perfect person to be cast as Paddington, and that was a last-minute decision as well. Like, I'm one of these people where if you don't like Paddington, I think he's slightly dead inside.
I've heard of this bear, and I still have not seen it.
Has anybody seen this movie on here? Oh my god! Yeah, I hate to say it, I have not seen either of the Paddingtons. I've heard zero bad things about either of these movies ever. Like never one person even say they're not. I mean, it's so. I'm like I've almost been holding off to see these till there's a reason to see them. But, that may be for several years. So forget that. I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and see these,
Steal a kid and then go watch Paddington.
I'm going to pull a Room, a 2014 movie that may get mentioned. But I'm going to pull a Room and find a kid to watch this movie with. Quote me.
Well, it's 2015, but that was
take a sip of my water over here.
Yeah, sorry.
Such a fantastic thing. It's also, if anyone's a fan of British comedy, it was directed by by Paul King, who did the majority of The Mighty Boosh. If you know,
The Mighty Bush,
The Mighty Boosh,
The Mighty Boosh.
It's meant to be. So the joke is with that name is that it was a Spanish person that said that someone had a mighty bush. They had a mighty bush. But yeah, it's fantastic. You should watch that as well. But Paddington, legitimately, like, there's not a bad cast. There's not a bad person in the cast. Everyone is acting fantastically. It's just delightful. It's whimsically charming.
I think it's also Tony's accent that makes me want to see this movie so bad. It's really charming. And I'm like, American people don't say that right.
Well, I mean, I will definitely check these movies out. These have been on my watch list for a long time. So for you to bring up, there's a lot of really great movies in 2014. For that to be your favorite, that's pretty awesome. So respect. Peggy, go ahead.
Yes.
Give me your 2000.
I have two for this year. I am hoping somebody else picks the second one, so I will just mention the first. I am
Christina.
going with.
I won't.
I don't know. We'll see. But the one I want to mention is a screen adaptation of a best-selling novel called "This Is Where I Leave You." I talk about this movie a lot because I love it.
Good.
Definitely. Okay, who's in this one?
Ensemble cast:
Jason
Bateman, Tina Fey. You've got Catherine
Adam
Hahn,
Driver.
Timothy Oliphant, Jane Fonda, Adam Driver. It's Corey Stoll. It's Connie Britton. It's just an ensemble cast, basically about a story of a family who's the patriarch, the father of the family, dies, and so they all return home and sit shiva, and it's the drama that ensues therein.
Oh man, it's
excellent.
a Jewish movie about
Indeed
a family
it
who lost
is.
their father. Wow,
Indeed, it is.
welcome to my life. But yeah, I can always watch my life portrayed on screen. That sounds amazing.
It's a fantastic movie. If you've never
Kirby
seen it, I
is
highly
not
recommend you seek it out.
Who directed it?
Steve Levy.
Sean
Also,
Levy.
Sean Levy. Thank you. Don't know why I said Steve. Same guy who did Nightmare at the museum. Night at the
Night
Museum.
Museum.
Night. Thank you.
No,
I can't talk today.
They're a nightmare. You're right. You got it right. Those movies are
I
a
haven't
nightmare.
seen. So.
I assume.
I did like Date Night and a bunch of
Nice.
other stuff. But
So this is like what he got to get like discovered for these huge projects. Basically, is this nice?
But
Has
it's
anybody else seen this?
I have.
I think I've seen that.
This movie is fantastic. Jason Bateman is like one of my favorite people on earth because of this movie.
And yes,
it's just,
sorry, just to interject, Scott, you are indeed correct. I did add this to the round 3 list for Full Metal because I love the movie and I wanted to make sure all y'all fucking saw it.
Wait, Timothy Olyphant's in this movie as well?
yeah.
Jesus, what movie is he not in? Timothy Olyphant's incredible.
Adam Driver and Connie Britton's relationship is so good in this movie.
Mhm.
So good.
Adam
She's
steals
like
the
a
film.
lawyer. Yeah.
And this
She's a therapist.
And this is
Oh yeah, she's a
and this
therapist.
is like
She's like his mom.
Connie. This is our like coming off American Horror Story season 1 probably. So this is like peak Connie Britton. So
Yeah, it's post Friday Night Lights. So
Yep. Nice. Great recommendation.
When Corey Stoll is probably the smallest name in the cast.
Yeah.
That's
And he's fantastic as the eldest brother. Fantastic.
Technically, Adam Driver was the smallest name in the cast at that point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
He
at the
was.
point it came out.
He was.
That's insane.
And in my opinion, Adam steals the film from everybody. And
Oh,
that's
he's
a
so
bunch
good.
of names.
So good in this movie. Tina Fey's amazing as the sister too.
Mhm.
Dax Shepard's in this movie.
Yep.
I love him.
Dax Shepard's in this movie. He plays the one
Radio-
that
radio
I don't
DJ.
want to tell anything, but it's
He's
so
a
good.
radio DJ, basically.
Oh
He's
my
like
God,
a
it's
shock
so
jock, morning
good.
jock.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, these
I'm
are
ready to
the
watch
kind
this
of,
movie.
these are the kind of movies I really like being brought up on this stream because they get like the people who've seen them like talking, the people who haven't seen them want to see them, and I'd heard you mention it, but I'd never heard it gone into
I've
detail
done a
like
lot.
this. And the title is just a perfect rom-com title. Like that is like a 1960 like this is where I leave it. Perfect. And to be about Shiva I'm sold.
It's good. You'll love it. I've given you a few diamonds. So
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to give you some back, but all mine end up just being rough. So, speaking of rough, you had a rough day, Christina.
I did have a rough day.
That was a good deflection. I could have made that really mean.
I thought you were going to be like, speaking of rough, here's Christina.
that's
Here's Miss Sandpaper herself, Christina.
Yeah. So, Christina, your highbrow pick for 2014. I assume that's why you're wearing your glasses twin. Yeah.
Well, no, I just didn't really put my contacts in today.
I know. Maybe every day.
No, my pick's very easy. I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair
Okay.
enough. Fair enough.
First of all, my man's in a film, so you know I'm picking it.
fair.
And it's the greatest MCU movie of all time. It will not be better. Rue will back me up on this. I argued this on his show. And it's there's really nothing else to say. Actually, there's 2 words to say. Elevator scene. Rue, I'm assuming you picked the same thing, so just give it justice.
Yes, yeah, I did. That's why I had it back up, just in case.
Yeah, you just go with it.
Yeah, no, I definitely would have done that as well. So now I get to say the other movie I talked about, but it's what I told you. It is the best. It is the best MCU film. I don't care what anybody else says. It is a political thriller. It is the first genre film of the MCU. Robert fucking Redford is in it, and it's just, even if it wasn't an MCU film, it's just a great action political thriller drama that has so many iconic scenes in the entirety of the MCU. They redid a scene in an elevator in Endgame. That's how good that film was.
Skips the beat. Like, you're like,
Yeah,
And they brought Redford back for it too.
exactly. So I've talked about it enough. I've talked about it as much as I've talked about Inception. So yeah,
I
there you
do.
go.
Don't worry, I have a lot of Chris Evans movies coming up.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Would you say that this or Dark Knight for best comic book movie of the last 20 years?
Oof. I think I decided that for me, this is my favorite, but I would objectively give Dark Knight the edge as the best.
Okay.
But Winter Soldier is my favorite, for sure.
Yeah, I would say The Winter Soldier is a better film, but as a comic book film, so like keeping the motif of comic book, like having the more flashier characters or that stuff, Dark Knight is better because of the Joker. But if you look at it, like this is very much like you take out Captain America, you put in James Bond. You take out the Winter Soldier, you put in just like a guy with metal teeth, and it's the best Bond film you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the best movies if you just adjust a few optics of it. I'm as much of an MCU doubter as there is, and this was the one that got me back in. Like after I was missing I don't know which were the few before this, but I even missed like the second Avengers. I was like, but like Winter Soldier was like the one that like really was like.
I agree with that. I remember like because Anthony and I used to go to the movies every week because that's all what we did when we were dating. And I was like, I don't even really want to see this because the first one wasn't that great. And like the MCU is kind of like not figuring out what it wants to do. And then you went to go see it and you're like, oh yeah, never mind. They know what they're talking about. They're fine.
You had Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World right before this. So I can
those were the two that I missed both
so
of them.
you're just like, wait a second. Because Ultron was after this. So you're like,
never mind, I didn't miss Ultron.
Iron Man 2 and 3 were kind of Thor Dark World was awful. So I'm like, I was like, First Avenger wasn't that great, which I feel like now I have a new appreciation for First Avenger.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't even really want to go see this, and I was forced against my will.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like so great. This movie is the best one. I mean, you can watch the honest trailers on this, and they literally don't have anything bad to say. Captain America literally just kicks people. He did not skip leg day, which is important for anyone that goes to the gym. You have to work out your legs.
It also has the best action sequence of the entire MCU. The bridge sequence beats everything in Infinity War. It beats everything in Endgame. It beats everything.
Don't you say it.
It beats Civil War as well.
Don't you say it.
It beats Civil War as well.
Don't you say it.
Because it has everything on it in action. The
grabs the bike is pretty cool.
The airport scene is close. It's a very, very close second. But the hand-to-hand with Bucky versus Cap on its own that goes for a good 5 minutes, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, what about Bucky's escaping, and does the hand-to-hand combat with pretty much everybody and kicks their ass? Just saying, and he does it against superheroes.
That is pretty dope. That is pretty dope.
When they go down the staircase, yeah.
Also,
the Soldier is still better.
The fight at the very beginning with Josh St. Pierre as well.
Yes, GSP.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this movie I could watch. Well, most of the MCU I can watch over and over again, but this one I could definitely watch, and it's the best one.
They're from the guys that brought you Community.
Yeah, that's pretty funny, Jacoby.
I love Jacoby.
Jacoby's great.
I love this movie. It's in my top 10, of course, but I do have an affinity for other films from the MCU. I think other ones tug at the heartstrings a little bit more. Also, one gave me the perfect Spider-Man that I've ever wanted in my life. Don't you disrespect that movie ever again.
We're talking about Spider-Verse? Is that what we're talking about?
No. Civil War gave us the perfect Spider-Man that you could ever want. Anybody that says Toby was a good Spider-Man, sit your ass down right now. We got the best Peter Parker / Spider-Man. He played both characters and did it well.
We cry faces.
Here's my question for you. I can't get my words out. I had it in my head. Is the Spider-Man introduction the best introduction, or is the one with Winter Soldier with Falcon?
I think Spider-Man's the best introduction that we get. Underoos. It's perfect. It's literally perfect.
I think it would have been better if they didn't blow it in the damn trailer.
Oh, okay. I agree. I still think it's one of the best.
They needed. Oh wait, I'm mixing the two, so never mind. I would argue Black Panther's introduction just throughout that entire damn movie of how badass he was in that. T'Challa. So forget Black Panther. How badass T'Challa was going into. So that's Civil War. We're going off topic. But
I agree that I hate when they
only see a shadow though. Like that's baller. Anyway. We'll come back to Civil War, I'm sure.
Yeah, we definitely will. What were you gonna say, Peggy?
I was gonna say I agree when they pretty much give away the entire movie or the best parts of the movie in the trailer. It pisses me right off. Just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, fuck trailers. I avoid them like the plague for every movie I'm kind of interested in seeing, but I'm a nerd. So, any other thoughts on Winter Soldier before we move on?
Yo, why is Jacoby being a hater right now? You can't hate on Cap. He's the greatest.
I just looked up here. It's weirdly, Captain America was the 7th highest grossing of that year. There's like,
that's shocking. Well, this was when it was shaky from those one.
Yeah.
It wasn't all roses the whole way up.
well, there's even one that appears before another Disney MCU film that appears after it, but I'm not going to say which, just in case it's ruse.
It's not.
I'll
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Guardians of the
Guardian,
Galaxy. Yeah, Guardians is third, and then it's like so you got Transformers, The Hobbit: Battle for Five Armies, Maleficent, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, one that might be Rue's pick, and then Captain America. It's just like
Well,
how
the reason that Guardians took the spot was because this movie was so good. It got people enthusiastic to go see the MCU again.
I would agree with that for sure. But no, I don't have another MCU movie as my backup. I'll go straight into it.
go ahead.
We have that.
Which?
So in 2020, one of my favorite movies of this year so far is a Groundhog Day type film. Palm Springs was really, really,
So
really,
good.
really good. And one of the best movies to take that concept and do it really, 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 really good, even though they can't figure out the title of the damn movie. Probably one of my biggest surprises that I'm hella mad. I saw it late. I didn't see it until it came out on TV. I was pissed. Edge of Tomorrow, Would I Repeat,
Okay.
is great. It's one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. It proved Emily Blunt is the badass of the badasses and needs and her and the Blunt family should be the Reed family, basically, because that's the Blunt family. It's not the Krasinski family. And yeah, Edge of Tomorrow was when I saw it come out, I was like, all right, cool. And when I watched it, I was like, fuck, I was an idiot. That was great. Mark Riley was right yelling, Edge of Tomorrow is finally fucking getting a sequel. That it deserves all the love and praise. It's great.
Yeah, I love this movie. Excellent action and just like truly like a surprise, like really a surprise from Tom Cruise. He doesn't usually play characters like this unlikable, and that was like really refreshing. I think whenever he does play an unlikable character, he does it really well. So because he probably is not, I don't know. That's well, I don't think he's a great dude in real life. Let's be honest. So I think that when he gets to channel that in these films, he does a lot better. So this is one where he kind of plays like an arrogant, eventual hero in some ways. But yeah, the action scenes are just really well done. I love this movie. Great pick.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when I saw this movie. Was this the last movie from Bill Paxton?
I believe so.
But yeah, he had a small role in that, but he knocked it out of the park every time he came back and was yelling at him and everything. But no, I basically went into this movie with zero expectation, and yeah, I agree with you. It was one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies of all time. It's definitely top 5. So, excellent pick.
Any other thoughts on Edge of Tomorrow?
Edge of Tomorrow.
That should be the name of the sequel, Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I get it.
That one's free. Hollywood.
But yeah, I think Scott is correct. It was one of the worst marketed films. Just like no, like from it, you're just like, what's Tom Cruise doing? Why is he not doing Mission Impossible? But if you actually go and watch, it's like, holy shit, this is the best thing he's done outside of Mission Impossible this century.
So I have him in The Circle being his last film.
Kevin also said that too.
Yeah, Bill Paxton. So actually, Paxton had a pretty awesome 2014. He had $1 Million Arm, Edge of Tomorrow, and then Nightcrawler.
Well, which is that can lead us into our honorable mentions. Also, if you want to look up the biggest movie on June 15th. We can find that out since that's irrelevant in August, as we're still going here. Nightcrawler, definitely one of my honorable mentions.
I finally saw that movie this year.
And it lives up to all the hype, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
It's so good.
Creep of Jake Gyllenhaal does Creep better than anybody does Creep.
I think I read somewhere he blinked somewhere like 7 times in the entire movie.
Oh man.
Like it's just he is just fully like immersed in this role, and you can apply it to so many different industries, and people are willing to do whatever they have to be noticed, to have notoriety, to do their job, quote unquote, and no matter who it sacrifices in the end. And this is one you can watch at home. I don't think that the theater added anything to this type of movie, if I'm being honest. I did see it in the theater, and it was like great always to see on it. But I mean, this style, like, it works almost better on a smaller screen because of how it's filmed and how they approach it, in my opinion.
Jake was definitely snubbed for no Oscar recognition. Oh my gosh.
It's insane, yeah.
I think Riz Ahmed was snubbed for no supporting because I think
he was really good in that too.
Rene Russo was also great as like an aging reporter trying to, remain relevant, and like her just overall performance was like, I think her best since Tin Cup. So that was nice to see Rene Russo still have a pulse on screen. So that's great. Tony, what are your thoughts on Nightcrawler?
I've watched it once. I think I was in the wrong headspace to watch it because it just was like, meh. I even made it in that type of tone. So it's just like, I need to rewatch it at some point. I think I have on Blu-ray. I'll watch it some point this week.
Yeah. Just didn't hit you? You didn't either?
Yeah, it just didn't sit with me.
Okay.
I was just not in the right headspace, probably.
Yeah. Peggy, is this one you've seen?
No, I have not, so I cannot comment.
Okay. What about you, Christina?
I haven't seen the movie.
Why not? Jake Gyllenhaal, Bubble Boy.
So bring someone in that probably has
Bubble
seen
Boy
it.
is such a good.
Yeah. Let's definitely
good pull.
My sappy romantic.
What's the stranger in? What's their opinion on it?
Hey.
Let's go.
There we go.
I've seen it. You're correct.
What are your thoughts on Nightcrawler? Would this be your pick for 2014?
No, it's in my top 5, but Lego Movie would have been my pick, actually.
Oh, well, you can go ahead and go into Lego Movie. And like, if you want a few thoughts on Nightcrawler, but then go into Lego Movie. Easy segue.
Nightcrawler's fantastic. I love like journalism movies, and that's a great one, and it's very suspenseful. One of the worst Oscar snubs ever, Jake Gyllenhaal not getting nominated. But an even worse Oscar snub is that the Lego Movie did not get nominated for did not even get nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because I think this movie is pretty genius. Like, I think that it's hilarious, first of all. Like, I don't think it matters what age you are. I know I've heard some people say that like it's only good if you're a kid, but I don't think so. Like, I think there are plenty of jokes and stuff in here for adults. Like there's freaking jokes about the 2003 NBA All-Stars in here. But and I also think that like there's like a political commentary like under the surface that is also like really subversive kind of, and it's about like the importance of creativity, and like I love the way that they pull back to like the narrative of like the kid, like Will Ferrell playing the dad to the kids, and what that is saying in the context of the movie. Like I think it's like it doesn't get enough credit for being like as smart as it is. And yeah, I absolutely love the Lego Movie, and my other shouts would have been Boyhood and Interstellar. I love those as well.
Okay, I still haven't seen Boyhood. Somehow I've still not. I know I love Richard Linklater. I think I've seen every other.
Like nothing, but
which is some of my favorite. Those are some of my favorite
Yes
movies
and no.
to watch.
Yeah, like there's no like crazy. There's no crazy stuff happening, but like that's life. Like life isn't always craziness.
Yeah, you're muted, Peggy. But it sounded like you were saying really nice things.
Well, I said the same could be said of Days Confused. Not a whole lot happening, but yet there's a whole lot happening.
Yeah,
and the Before trilogy.
honestly,
That's
exactly.
Linklater. That's what he does. Yeah.
And just in general, I some of my favorite movies would be quote unquote plotless or boring like movies. I typically find those very engaging.
Totally.
So just one more honorable mention from me, and then we can move on. At least from mine, and if anybody else has any, jump in. Birdman, definitely, and whatever unexpected virtue of ignorance. This movie, when I first saw it, I think the internet's gotten to this one a little bit over time, taken a little bit of the luster off it, and just like the one-shot thing has been a little bit falsely accused of being gimmicked. But I loved it in this movie, and I think Michael Keaton puts on an amazing performance as post-Batman here. So, yeah, like definitely Birdman. I'm a huge fan of the movie. The soundtrack throughout it's really great. Every kind of member is playing a hyper realistic version of themselves, Edward Norton especially. So I love a little bit of my meta in my movies, and this has a lot of it. So Birdman.
It's a great pick.
I have my sob story of The Fault in Our Stars, which I brought a box of tissues with me to the movie theater and shared it with the girl that was next to me. I can't do that anymore, COVID. And the greatest movie of all time of how to frame your husband for your murder, Gone Girl. And I was like, oh my God, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Also, taking copious notes.
Anthony, I hope you're somewhere safe.
Now we know Anthony couldn't make the stream today. Yeah,
Haley, that's next year. I do have two. One was Taken. Gone Girl was. It's a bop. That movie's so good. But the one that I want to mention is The Guest. It's a movie that a lot of people haven't seen, but it's so good. Dan Stevens in that. The kid's in that for any Schmodown fans, and he's really good in that movie too. I think the movie is, and I think it has the same leading person as It Follows, which is great. But no, I think The Guest is a super underrated movie, and not a lot of people watched it. It's great though, so watch it. I'm really not trying to give away too much of plot details, because if I give plot details away, it'll spoil the movie for you, and I don't want to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's it's a really good tense watch, and like really well, good pick for sure. So anybody else have any other?
I just want to throw a quick shout out to The Imitation Game, because I thought it should have won Best Picture that year. Benedict Cumberbatch was phenomenal in it as Alan Turing, and I had no idea of the story of this before I saw the movie. So, and that's really sad, especially for my history teachers. So,
I'll take your British biopic that was Oscar nominated, and I'll raise you the better one, Theory of Everything.
You're wrong, but okay.
Theory of the story of Stephen Hawkins. I know. I just like it more than.
That's fair.
Imitation Game.
Nothing wrong with that.
Coming back, choose a bit of the scenery a bit more, and just like Ray May's performance is so much just deeper.
I just thought he robbed the Oscar from Michael Keaton, in my opinion, like Eddie Redmayne did.
I'll just I have no thoughts on that, but I'll just go ahead and do my regular movies. Guardians, of course. John Wick came out this year. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is great. Days of Future Past, which is also great. And even though Lego Movie should have gotten nominated, the Best Animated Picture of the year did win Best Animated Picture of that year, and that was Big Hero 6. So Big Hero 6 was good.
That's a good one.
Nice.
That one is kryptonite for the classroom. The kids do not speak when that movie is on. Out there. Kryptonite.
I'm kind of shocked no one went with The Legend of Hercules.
Yikes.
Rennie Harlan coming back after 15 years to do that shite.
Ow.
Yikes.
No, we were good on that.
Okay. And at nearly 1 hour into the stream, we are through our very first year on the stream. That's why we only went with 4 for the year. So that we would only be on for 45 minutes instead of 4 hours. But any final thoughts before we put a nail in 2014? Once, twice.
It's a really good year. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
It's a good year. Yeah. Not every year deserves an hour or 40 minutes since we kind of talked about some other things to start, but that one definitely deserves it. All right, we're going to 2000.
God damn it, I'm wrong.
Okay, 2000. We're going into 2015 now. Is everybody staying with us at this point, Tony? Is everybody who's with us supposed to be with us?
Yeah, apart from me, I'm going to jump out and so we get more people on.
Okay, no problem.
So-
All right. Well, we'll see you later.
I'm gonna jump out too.
And we'll see you later, Christina.
Hi, guys.
Everybody else
Have
is
to be on. Also,
Good to
room for 2015. Woohoo!
Oh, there you go, Haley. Haley can rest peacefully. All right, see you later, Christina. Thanks for coming on. And Tony, are you bringing anybody else on then?
Yeah, I'll bring in next two. That'd be no worries.
Okay, great. We'll bring those on, and then one of those two will. I'll lead us off for 2015 because my pick is not a surprise if you ever listen to me talk about A24. Hi, Bill.
Hello, everybody.
And hi, Jake.
What's up,
Good
Jake?
to see you. Good to see you.
How did you not pick Ex Machina? A24, man. Come on.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
2014 was like the beginning of A24 really becoming a great studio. Like great. I know they were around 2012, but this is where they arrived. And then, hi, Bill. How are you doing?
Yeah, I am okay. I'm just barely getting over a stomach bug, so I will be a little less enthusiastic than normal, but I am all right. So
Okay.
You'll be more enthusiastic than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just well, we're glad you're hopefully feeling better and hopefully
better-ish.
Yeah, my mom's dealing with a stomach problem right now herself, so I know how that can be a lot worse than kind of people like realize that dealing with it. But I hope that you're feeling better. You look peachy as always. So yeah, I'll stop hitting on you now.
Yeah,
And,
fine.
get back to talking about my movie that I'm in love with slightly more than you even. So it's my favorite A24 movie ever. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I've talked about it a ton. Scott definitely knows what it is. But
I do too.
yeah, it's Colin Farrell, John C. Reilly, Rachel Weisz, many others. It is a black comedy to the fullest. You either love it or you hate it. And it is a movie all about love and society. It is The Lobster. It gets typed right away. This is honestly probably my favorite movie, like of all time. And it's just right time, right place. Everything about it for me just totally works, even though I admit the second half of the movie is nowhere close to the first half. But that's how good the first half is. And it just, when a movie when it hits you in the right spot, it hits you in the right spot. And I understand anybody who dislikes this movie, anybody who dislikes Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm not one of those people. So, yeah, I've talked about this movie to a point that I'm even sick of hearing about it. But I revisit it every 2 or 3 months, and I still love it every single time. And so, yeah, The Lobster. Anybody who hasn't seen this movie, I understand I've brought it up too much, but it's so worth seeing. It's on Netflix right now. So see it if you haven't, or if you have. Anybody have any thoughts?
It's good.
I've not seen it.
Yeah.
So
I do like this movie a lot, and it definitely made Yorgos Lanthimos appointment viewing for me. He's so unique with it. He's like, his dialogue is like if Wes Anderson was good, because of the deadpan. Yeah, that's right. Like he just does deadpan so much better. I'm sorry, I've gone on my Wes Anderson hate too long. But yeah, I really like The Lobster, and this is definitely, the end is very, very uncomfortable. Just a warning, especially like the last scene. But it's really funny, especially the beginning.
Yeah, I like the first half. Like kind of like you were saying, Aaron. Like I do think the second half falls off a little bit, but I've only seen it once, so I need to go back and rewatch it, because I really like The Favorite, so that made me want to revisit that one and all of the others. So,
yeah, I dug the creativity of this movie because it's brilliant, but I don't know, it just missed the mark a little bit for me somehow.
Okay. Rue, have you seen this movie?
I have not seen it, just heard of it, but
Okay.
haven't seen it.
Doug, what about you?
I have not seen this movie.
Okay. All right.
I know things about this movie, but I have not seen this movie.
Yeah. It's
Hashtag question writing.
Yeah, I've talked about this movie a bunch. So yeah, if you've not seen it, it's always available on Netflix or wherever. But yeah, it's a unique, different kind of take on a lot of different issues that I respond to very strongly. So I don't really know who to go next to here. So let's go to Jake.
I volunteer.
I
volunteer because I'm pretty sure my movie would get taken if I don't go right now. It's my number one movie of the decade. 2016 as my number 2 movie of the decade, but this movie, it's I think it's the best action movie of my lifetime. And yes, I know The Matrix exists. I know Terminator 2 exists. I know the Raid movies exist. But for me, Mad Max Fury Road is a transcendent film. I am not a religious man. Even though I talk about my Judaism all the time. But seeing this movie in the theater was a religious experience for me. Like what I imagine what people think when like they think they see God or something. This is me when I saw Mad Max Fury Road for the first time. Like I honestly cannot believe nobody died or even got seriously hurt making this movie because the stunt work is so insane in this movie. And like and it took forever to make it. They were making this movie in 2012 and it didn't come out until 2015. But this is also an example of CGI used really well because it's all about the background. It's nothing in the foreground. It's all just dressing to sort of make the landscape look a little bit more epic, but the actual stunts themselves, that's all real, which you can't even believe. And also within like 15 minutes of this movie starting, Charlize Theron already joined Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley in like the pantheon for female action heroines. It's just legendary stuff from her, and I'm the number one war boy here. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I'm all about Fury Road. I think it's like an all-time masterpiece for me. Like it's in my top 10 all time, and it's my number one movie of the 2010s.
All right, great. Anybody have any thoughts on Mad Max? Was that anybody else's one?
It's not my one, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, it was up there for me. Yeah, going off of what Jake just said, I've been doing like the AFI list, watching all of them recently, and I have been thinking about like whenever they do it again, like what movies from recent years will be on there, and I feel like this is a prime candidate because like Jake is definitely not alone in like saying this is number one of the decade. Like a lot of people have said that, and yeah, it kind of changed the game for action movies in the 2010s. So I really like it.
I thought it was very visually stunning, but some of the methods with which they attack the truck are not very, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Functional with the swing of the thing. I mean, it looks pretty, but makes no sense. That's just me.
Not the most practical.
Thank you. That was a better word that I was searching for.
I got it.
Don't slander the Doof Warrior. Don't you dare.
Is that the
Don't come at me. No, that's the guitar player, yes.
Okay.
Just my 2 cents is a little ridiculous, but
that's my beautiful boy, the Doof Warrior.
It was a little theatrical, but I'm all about that. All's fair in love and war, as they say. But yeah, this one,
good. Then that perfectly validates my opinion that Malcolm hates it, so that means it's a masterpiece.
I should have spoke. I'm gonna go along. I should have spoke earlier. I seen this once. Don't need to see it again. I don't. It's not bad. I'm pretty objectively can say it's probably a great movie. I saw it and was like, I don't understand what all
the religious like
I didn't get it. I didn't get that. I understood why people loved it, but I was just like, all right, cool. I need this movie to end. Well,
I could watch them chase each other for 5 hours easily.
Watch that guy play guitar for 5 hours.
I would say Charlize is definitely cemented her for sure. Outside of that, I'm just like, shit is weird, not my kind of weird. I'm good.
very much my kind of weird.
Yeah, I think that's great. I just watched the original Mad Max the other night, and this is way better than that, I'll say.
The Road Warrior is also much better.
Yeah, the original Mad Max was really boring, so I don't suggest seeing that on Netflix. But this one was not. You can't say this was boring. So good pick, Jake. We're gonna let's go to Doug next, and then we'll go Bill, and then up to the top here.
All right. I don't think my movie would get picked in the slightest. It's a hard movie to rewatch. It's a hard movie to rewatch. I'll just say that. It's Spotlight. I think this movie is phenomenal. Did I really?
Every single time mine gets taken.
Hey, at least it wasn't me.
I really didn't think anybody was going to pick it. This is one of my favorite 2015 films.
Well, that's good that you said it for 2015 then.
Yeah, right? I think what makes this movie so interesting is about how much cover-up was done, and for it to finally be put in the spotlight. I think the filmmaking in this movie is beautiful. I think the rawness you get is fantastic. Chico agrees.
Chico's all about justice.
He's about justice. Justice for the people that can't speak out about it. I think this is... I love Boston movies. I don't know what it is, but you put a Boston movie in front of me and I will watch it, and it will probably go to the top of my list. It might be the accents. It might be the, how raw people are. But I think it's really good. This is another Keaton movie. Birdman started his renaissance, and he just skyrocketed with this movie. This movie was fantastic. Yeah, I really like Spotlight a lot. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo in this movie is super underrated. I think nobody gives him enough credit. He was incredible in this movie.
He was nominated.
Yeah. Well, so my thought is kind of that what I really like about the movie is that on paper, even though it's a super Oscar baity movie, and obviously it did win Best Picture, the actual execution of the movie is not Oscar. It's not like you would expect from a film that is trying to win Oscars, because it's very understated. There's not showiness. There's the one scene with Mark Ruffalo where he, goes on his they knew rant or whatever. But there are no moments in the movie that are oh, for your consideration. Here's the scene that they're going to show in the Oscar nominations montage. When you watch a lot of a movie like The Blind Side or something, which it literally only exists in order to get one of its actors an Oscar. This is not that. I feel like everyone is working together, and I think the fact that it didn't win any acting Oscars actually shows how great it was, because nobody was outshining anyone else. They were all just working together perfectly as an ensemble, and so I think it's an amazing movie. And I also love talking about the Boston angle. It shows how pervasive the Catholic Church and everything is in Boston, because it affects all of them personally. Sasha has her grandmother who goes to church, and there's that whole part which is really good. There's with Brian Darcy James' character where the house right down the street from him or whatever is where there is where one of the houses where things went on, and so that you see how it affects all of their lives individually. And so I think it's one of my favorite movies, and it is oddly rewatchable, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pick. Any other thoughts on Spotlight before we move on?
I've seen it, but I saw it in the theater when it came out. Haven't seen it since. I probably should revisit it. I liked it first time. Obviously, we know what I would have picked for Best Picture instead. But no, it's solid. It's solid. And yeah, Keaton especially is awesome in this.
Yeah, it was back-to-back really great roles for Keaton. All right, Bill. We're to your 2015 pick. Go ahead.
So what I've picked is a surprise to 0 people that exist on the planet Earth. I'm going to paint a picture before I reveal. I was watching Kung Fury on YouTube or something. It was just, I was amazed. And then I didn't turn off auto replay. So the next thing that happens is I see a trailer for this movie. that takes place in 1996. And I watch it, and by the end of it, I'm like, I need to fucking own this the second it comes out, because it is a masterpiece and it is Turbo Kid.
Yes.
I unapologetically and unironically love every single frame of this film. This movie is amazing. This movie will knock your dick in the dirt. Pick it up, brush it off, lull it into a false sense of security, and then put it right back into the dirt. It's fucking crazy. It's like someone cracked open my head, took all the coolest shit I could ever think of, and said, "Do that, but on film." It's a lot of relative unknowns. The basic premise is it's the apocalypse on BMX. Really, is the best way I could put it. It is a love letter to 80s child endangerment sci-fi films. To where it is put through the lens of that, but it is definitely written for adults because it gets super gory real fast. They do not skimp. All of the effects are purposely shoddy, and it's part of the charm. It's like watching old Doctor Who. I sing this movie's praises a lot, and for good cause. And every time I sit somebody down to, I'm like, you just need to see it to believe that this movie friggin' exists. Someone gets stabbed with a goddamn unicorn. Someone's head gets chopped off with like flying like saws. Like everything about this is just so good. I love this film. It is how you do like a movie where you're clearly like kind of poking a little fun at the stuff that you grew up on, but in a way that where it's sort of like the Black Dynamite effect, where they're making fun of it, but it's because they love it and it's coming from a place that actually understands what made it work in the first place. If you haven't seen it, fucking stop what you're doing. Go. It's. I'm sure it's somewhere. I think I found it for free on YouTube at one point. I don't know. It usually this movie's great. I love it. Turbo Kid. I'll open up the floor because I'm sure no one has seen it. Or they're.
I have.
So. Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't enjoy it as much as you. You kind of feel about Turbo Kid the way I feel about Mad Max Fury Road. But I did really enjoy this movie. This movie is so much fun. I also enjoyed the director's follow-up, which I watched very recently, Summer of '84. It's like a really good homage to 80s horror movies. But yeah, Turbo Kid is it's so much fun. And a Mad Max-esque aesthetic. Also, that's definitely an inspiration on Turbo Kid.
But that glorious wall-to-wall synth pop soundtrack is just so amazing.
Yeah, and isn't it's either Rucker Hauer or Michael Ironside?
It's Michael Ironside. Yeah,
it's Michael Ironside. Yeah,
I mean, that's how you dunk it. You get Mr. Scanners to come in and go, okay, I'm the bad guy. Let's go. Let's get this done. So,
yeah, I endorse it.
Yeah, I didn't know what this was until right now, but in looking it up, it looks dope. So I'm going to add it to my watch list.
Yeah, it's worth seeing for sure.
Yeah. It was worth seeing. Well, just like I had to see it just to make sure that it actually existed. There's no way this is a for real movie, right?
Just don't take it too seriously.
Yeah. No, this is turn your brain off and let it just be ridiculous and have some fun with it.
No, I can tell that from just reading the plot description. That is that type of movie.
Hiya. All right. Looks like Aaron's ran away. I think Chica was trying to escape. So, Peggy, do you want to do your movie?
Muted.
Peggy's muted.
I try to be nice and then I screw myself and do it.
She's just like, I'm not fucking talking about
my life.
Get me out of here.
All right. So, my favorite from 2015 was actually my favorite of the decade when I was on your list. Sucks. A surprising movie from this director because he had pretty much done nothing but straight up comedy until then, and went and saw this, and I was like, damn, Adam McKay, look at you knocking it out of the park. I'm taking The Big Short.
Nice.
Ensemble movie all about the housing market crash of 2008, if I'm not mistaken, is the year. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Christian Bale, Brad Pitt, it's got Margot Robbie in the bathtub. If that doesn't sell you, don't know what will. But yeah, I went with The Big Short. Has anybody else here seen it?
Yeah, I think it's a bit overrated. I like the movie, but I do think that I think it's a case of it's really hard to adapt something like that. Tony, I said I liked the movie. Good lord.
No, Get Out
like-
was 2017.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's on
I'm
everybody's list.
sure
so it's
that'll
just
come
going
up.
to be a fight to the death to who gets that.
Yeah, no, this movie's fine. The acting is good all around. It's just
I mean, Steve Carell, come on now.
he's great. He's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's my favorite character in the movie for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just like it was sort of. I think maybe it was just me being jarred by Adam McKay making this sort of pivot because I had loved his collaborations with Will Ferrell so much, as revealed on a previous one of these streams. So yeah, I think it just didn't really click with me that much, but I still enjoyed it.
No worries.
Yeah, I always this in Spotlight to me kind of inevitably got like compared within my group of friends with like, and I preferred Big Short in their approach to Spotlight. I felt like this was the more fun of the two. Like, I know they're very
It's more fun for sure.
Yeah, it's obviously the subject matter, and like usually I go for like the darker, like harder to watch ones. That's why it's interesting that but I think it is Steve Carell overall that is just like one of the best performances of the year, and there's a lot of great performances in that movie, but Steve, and a lot of
definitely snubbed.
Yeah, and a lot of movies where I've heard great Steve Carell performances, I've watched some Beautiful Boy and then been like, no, I don't see it. So like this is, that's a great choice though. I wouldn't have expected this one. So I don't know what I was thinking from 2015 for you. So
I've got honorable mentions. You'll hear them later.
I like it though. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this movie is good. And I think that his style works really well because the subject matter is like super dense and like needs like here's Margot Robbie in a bathtub, like explaining this to you. But like subsequently, like Vice is is just absolute garbage. I hate that movie. And he uses the same type of style to explain stuff that does not need to be explained, right? Like you don't need like someone hammering everything home to you. And then like in the mid-credit scene, it's basically obvious that he just hates all millennials. So I don't like the impact that his style and like this sort of like jokey wink wink like treatment of like political issues, like that type of style has been imitated a little bit now, but I do think that this is an example. Like the first time he did it, it did work well because of the subject matter.
Okay, fair enough. Rue, do you have any thoughts on?
No, 2015 has turned out to be a big year of great movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah, well,
I
think these last few years are going to happen more and more because I think people just get more specific into their taste. So far, everybody in 2015 has really had a kind of way of showing their taste in a very unique way. Scott, go ahead with your 2015 choice.
Yeah, so Spotlight was my number one, and here we go again. And my number two was actually It Follows because that was a 2015 wide release, I think. So my number three is Steve Jobs, which I think is a really good Danny Boyle, Aaron Sorkin collab. I mean, I'm a sucker for anything that Sorkin does, but I think this one is definitely underrated. I think he got compared to The Social Network, obviously, because of similar vibes. Again, Sorkin, he has very recognizable writing style. But I think this is maybe not quite on par with The Social Network, but like it's close for me because I think it's doing some different things. And I like some people don't like the structure of the movie. I actually do like centering it around like these 3 product launches rather than trying to tell like a beginning to end chronological story of Steve Jobs. Like I think it's a little stagey, I guess, but like Sorkin, it was originally a stage. Like he started off by being a playwright, so like I think it works well. I think Michael Fassbender is amazing in the movie. I think the supporting cast is really good too, and like I don't care about Apple or Steve Jobs, like honestly, but when I watched this movie, I was like, hey, this was really good. It shed some light on a figure who I like would have never known anything about or probably never would have sought out any like thing about. And I just watched it because of Aaron Sorkin, but he made me actually care, which I think is the sign of a good movie. So I really like it.
Okay. I haven't seen this one, so
No, it's good. Sorkin definitely has a specific cadence if you listen to it, if the actors get it right. Like there's a rhythm to his script writing, and I've always appreciated that about him. And it goes without saying that's part of this movie and probably why I liked it. So.
Yeah, it is kind of like listening to music in a way. Sorkin dialogue. I do like this movie. I don't think it's close to The Social Network, but I still think it's a really good movie. I just didn't really care about the family stuff. Like everything else was really good, but I don't think the family stuff was kind of shoehorned in for me. So that just sort of I think that sort of brought it down a little bit, even though I do think it's very good. And Fassbender especially was absolutely incredible. Like I did not think he was not somebody I would have thought would be in a Sorkin type movie, but he totally crushes it.
And Seth Rogen was mentioned in the comments too. I think it's probably his best performance. Also, he's great in it.
You forget the hot dog.
What? Oh, in
Sausage Party.
No, I didn't forget it.
All right, cool. I'll have it on, but yeah. Sorry, I'm getting messages once again from people, so now I'm getting all distracted. I don't mean to be rude. But Rue, go ahead with your pick for 2015.
Oh, I'm about to completely swerve on all of this. As I was saying, 2015, I was looking through the movies. I'm like, damn, these are a lot of movies outside of Mad Max that are amazing, apparently, but I've never seen. So I was looking through them. There are a couple that I'm going to mention in honorable mentions because I think they've been talked about a little bit more. And one you would think I would pick, but I'm going to pick it for another film, which is probably one of the most, one of the most endearing movies I've seen in a long time. Has a lot of heart. And Robert De Niro somehow just kills it. I'm sorry, Peggy. I love The Intern. When I saw The Intern, I just fell in love with that film.
Wow.
It's cute.
Yeah. It's a cute ass movie. And I enjoyed every single second of it. Even I'll go the whole cheating thing with Anne Hathaway and her husband. But everything with him trying to get back into the world and out of retirement and into this helping out and into Anne Hathaway's life, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I'm going with The Intern as my swerve pick from everything that everybody else has talked about. So.
Yeah, surprising pick from you, but I'm with it.
So 2015, there are some movies on here, and we can go into honorable mentions now. I'll just mention one of my honorable mentions that I didn't pick because I was relying on you. That's dope. You picked.
Oh shit! I didn't see that. Yeah, scrap The Intern. It's dope. I didn't see it. That's the only reason.
Tell me a little bit about.
Yeah, dope was on my honorable entry.
Okay. See, here's the deal with dope.
Tell me about dope.
Here's the deal with dope. It is so underrated that I looked through about 5 different lists of 2015 and it did not get one mention. This is how underviewed and how underrated this movie is. Tony, you can keep The Intern there because I genuinely love The Intern. Dope is one of the best coming of age films to have ever be put on screen.
Yeah.
Period. It made A$AP Rocky look like an actor. Because all he had to do was kind of play himself as a drug dealer. And look, it is me. It is me in where I have to choose between being cool or being the nerd, but somehow find a way to luckily fit in both realms. And how not everybody is lucky enough to be able to do that. And on top of that, being a black nerd. Being a black nerd is a lane in its own. You hear Jay and you hear Winston talk about that. It is something to navigate. And if you can navigate it well, life is beautiful. Because you get all the coolness and you get all the geekiness. But if you can't, that shit is rough. Because you get it from everybody. The white nerds don't accept you. The black people think you're too nerdy. It is something to deal with. And watching Malcolm deal with that, and as much as Shameik Moore has kind of done some stupid shit lately, as much as he's done that, he finds that lane. He's a hip hop nerd. He's a music nerd. He's a movie nerd. Everything in that movie is beautifully done, and it is my life experience Luckily, not to. I was much more fortunate than he was, but I understand the pain to a certain degree. So I love that movie. Thank you, Eric, because I would have died if I would have left and saw that and been very pissed off. So
Yeah. There's not much more I can put on top of that. Other than that, I also really related a lot to the character of Malcolm. Even though I do understand that there aren't a lot of characters like Malcolm that are presented, and there's still not enough characters. There's a movie in 2016 that I'll mention in my honorable mentions that also has a black nerd character that is fantastic, which I believe you're a fan of the movie also, but I'll mention it in a little bit here. But yeah, Dope. Dope is aptly named, and I'm glad that the director, Rick Famuyiwa, is getting his shot with Star Wars, I believe, or he was.
he did a couple of Mandalorian episodes.
And he's doing another one this year.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad he's getting some shots, but I'd love to see him do even more work. And yeah, Dope just put so many different type of characters as their main characters, and that is just, and it was done very earnestly. It wasn't done to pander at all. It was like very authentic, that movie. And yeah, some of my best friends reminded me a lot of Malcolm. So yeah, definitely a great pick, and I'm glad I could remind you of it. So now we're into honorable mentions here, and then we're gonna, unless anybody else needs to say goodbye real quick, but we'll do honorable mentions, and then we'll switch some people out. Yeah, besides Dope, A24 just had some amazing. What?
Sorry, I just need to quickly correct everyone because you're all wrong. You all should be fired.
Oh,
there's one particular rule on this channel that
yes, I can't believe it wasn't mentioned. I'm with you, Tony.
Rule number 1: always pick Rocky. And pick the second best Rocky film of all time.
That's my honorable mention.
Relax. It's going.
Chill out. You made me think I was doing something wrong. I had a diatribe and I saw the comment. I was like, wait a second, what did I do?
But yeah, he's right. All right, gonna continue.
Yeah. That was not even my honorable mentions. My honorable mentions were 2 A24 movies. I guess Ex Machina came out in 2014. For some reason, I had it as 15. But The Vitch. This is a nearly perfect movie. Definitely a perfect horror film. The atmosphere is so, like, I guess horrific is the word I would use. And this is a movie that was butchered by poor marketing, but that's mostly 24 movies.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
It's the witch.
It's right up your alley, Peggy.
Yeah, it's the witch. But you know, I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy. This was the beginning of a star. She's going to continue to rise, I hope, and doesn't get held up by any stupid franchises she tries to get involved with. But we can only dream.
It's fine because we're never going to see the New Mutants, which she's in, so that doesn't count.
The only reason I want to see the movies for her.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And it's just, I just love this movie. I feel like it's on the level of The Shining for like a protagonist going crazy in a sheltered environment type of movie. Black Phillip is one of the greatest villains of the 21st century.
100% agree.
But if I were to get a tattoo, it'd probably be a Black Phillip. So, like, I mean, I write like Black Phillip the Lobster. I'm so glad I'm not getting any tattoos because I'd be such a fucking mess. But you know, more so than usual. Those are my honorable mentions though. And Inside Out, adorable, lovely, wonderful.
It's one of mine.
Beautiful.
Yeah, same.
Makes me cry every time. Of course, like Bing Bong, everything about it.
Oh gosh.
Oh, Bing Bong. Don't even say it. Yeah.
Yo, Bing Bong. Damn.
Never saw it. So.
No, yeah. Inside Out's a great mention.
Yeah,
perfectly cast voices for every single emotion, every single character, Bing Bong included.
I don't
need to hear those those two words again without going, oh damn.
Right.
I don't need to see an animated film of what if feelings had feelings.
No,
but it's so good.
I get that take, but that's the take you have without seeing the movie. I get the take. I get it. I do need to be told how to feel through movies. That's the only way I know how to feel or react to situations. So this helps me a lot. Anybody else have any honorable mentions they want to get out?
I definitely do.
We all do.
I got a bunch too.
So we'll work around the room. Doug, go ahead, and then Jake.
I got two. One I'm just gonna go real quick. The Stanford Prison Experiment was a phenomenal movie. If you have not seen it, it's based on real events. It's what happens if you give power to people. It shows exactly what happens when the paradigm, the economy changes, and these college students become these guards. These other college students become the prisoners. People
Episode of Veronica Mars.
It's really horrifying. They got it from the real life event, if that's any case. And then I don't know how it's not mentioned yet, but The Hateful Eight. I love this movie. I saw it the first time I saw it. I was like, it is so good. It is so good. I don't know what to say. Like, this movie it's just ridiculously good. If you saw it in 70 millimeter, it was even better.
I saw it at the road show. Yep.
I went to the premiere of it in New York. Fun times.
I pirated it illegally.
I was this close to Joel Cohen. That's my last name.
Yeah.
Take a drink for Garth-style name dropping. I'm done.
But if you haven't seen either of those movies, I really recommend seeing both of them. Definitely go see the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's something that'll blow your mind.
That's a movie I've strolled over on Netflix 1 million times. I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's been like, that can't be even worth stopping on. So,
especially in today's modern society.
I mean, I'm very familiar with the experiment from college. I'm very familiar, but that's just a movie I didn't even think was ever worth even reading the description for on Netflix. I've just been like, okay, that's probably just something. So that's a great shout. I'll definitely add it to the list. Abel, I'm going to ask for your honorable mentions. I'm going to mercifully let you go because I know you're not feeling too grand. So.
That's okay. Well, a lot of mine got taken already, so I will go through the ones that haven't. Paddington.
That was last
That was 2014.
So Paddington.
Yeah, I had that listed as 15.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Anyway, Love and Mercy, which is really good. I really love Love and Mercy a lot. If you haven't seen it, is the tale of Brian Wilson told two different points of his life, where Paul Dano plays the younger version of him, recording pet sounds, and then John Cusack plays him in the grips of the Landry phase of the late 80s. They both nail it. It's really good. Green Room is also fantastic.
Nice.
Although
it's coming later. I had that as 2016.
That's a tough watch. Digging for Fire is a fun movie. I highly recommend. Also, my favorite Pixie song. If you, I can't remember. I think it's Jake Johnson. I can't remember the guy's name, but if you like him,
yeah, it's Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson, you'll enjoy it. It's fun. What else here? As far as I got two animated movies because I like to do that. Batman versus Robin is fine. It's a nice adaptation of the Court of Owls storyline, which I was a big fan of. But really, you should go out of your way to see Justice League Gods and Monsters because holy shit, that is some good time.
Great pick.
Really great. Underrated. Pick. Dexter is a vampire Batman in an alternate future. I mean, come on with any of this.
Superman is God's son.
Oh God!
So
Wonder Woman is like from New Genesis. It's just murder everywhere. It's
she's
like
basically Big Barda.
It's so good.
She's basically Big Barda. If you're a comic book reader,
and being a comic book reader, I'm embarrassed. I didn't figure out what was going to be the big twist at the end. It is. Or I was like, how did I not figure that out? That's great. So I would highly recommend all of those. So.
Awesome. Thank you. Bill, go ahead, get some rest. Feel better.
Right, guys.
Thank you for
making
having me. Always fun.
We couldn't have you without.
Oh, it was 15 in US. So okay. So
no worries. Awesome. Have a great night, man. Feel better.
All right, guys.
All right. Okay, cool. And then I think Doug, are you
me? Okay, I'll just go because Aaron's confused. All right, so 2015, I'm going to put Tony out of his misery and say Creed. To me, this is 1A of the Rocky movies. 1 and 1A with the original Rocky. I think I was so blown away by Ryan Coogler's reinvention of this franchise. I did not like Rocky Balboa at all. I thought Rocky was dead. I didn't think we needed it anymore. And then Ryan Coogler comes in throwing 105 with Creed, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like the Like when he gets the trunks before the final fight, I was a complete wreck, total mess. Oh my god. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Michael B. Jordan's phenomenal. Stallone was robbed.
Cinematography is outstanding.
Incredible. The one take fight is just elite shit right there. And then
Tessa Thompson is beautiful and a great actress, but also gorgeous as shit.
Yes.
Truth.
There will be no slander of Tessa Thompson in this house. Okay. And then my other honorable mentions, I got 2 more. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Yes.
Great. Rebecca Ferguson, Please Marry Me. And then she's even better in Dr. Sleep, but she's a scary person.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
And then
Sorry.
a fun one that you probably would not expect me to pick, but I enjoy the hell out of this movie. Magic Mike XXL is delightful.
I hear that it's good. I've never seen it.
It is. I really liked Magic Mike as well, the original, but this is more what I think people expected the first Magic Mike to be. This is what people expected the first Magic Mike to be, and it's just. I could watch Joe Manganiello try to seduce a gas station attendant, dancing Backstreet Boys on loop.
Me too.
24 hours straight. It's so great. And Donald
Glover.
Whoever casted Jada Pinkett Smith knew something 5 years before everybody else figured it out. Because it's perfect casting right there.
I know. Like I was like, as soon as I saw Jada was in this movie, it's like, oh hell no, man. But then she's just like, oh man, she brings it for sure. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie a lot. It's just so much fun.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Peggy, do you have any honorable mention?
Yeah, I would have said Creed, would have said Inside Out, but I'm gonna stay on brand since we got spoiled with a lot of good teen high school rom-coms in the 90s. I have to mention the rare ones we get in the 2000s. I'm going with The Duff as my honorable mention.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is surprisingly a good movie, and if you've never seen it, I say you go get it.
Tell me a little bit more about it. I don't know anything about this.
Basically, a girl who is considered to be the less attractive of her 3 friends comes to that realization, and then she asks for help of the most popular guy in school to, I don't know, kind of turn things around for her. I don't want to spoil too much, but
okay, yeah. Okay, who's in it? Who are the?
Mae Whitman,
Stephen Amell.
Robbie Amell. Robbie Amell.
Oh,
yeah,
Robbie
his little
Amell.
Mae Whitman has been playing a high schooler for like no less than 20 years.
The one chick from the Disney shows, I forget her name. The blonde one, the one who plays the popular girl.
Ashley Tisdale.
No, help me out. Somebody in the chat help me out. But no.
Bella Thorne, is that who you're
Thank you. That is her.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good teen rom-com. Check it out if you're into that kind of thing.
All right, awesome. Scott, do you have any others, or did you already go?
Yeah, I'll hit just a couple. Carol is an amazing romance film with Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara.
Yes.
Brooklyn is fantastic. Saoirse Ronan. Let's see. I don't want to go down this road, but Star Wars: The Force Awakens is my favorite Star Wars movie for personal reasons, but I won't go any further down that road. And then there's an Argentinian movie called Wild Tales, which I'm surprised if I don't guess anyone's seen it, but Jake especially, you should see this because it is very, very Tarantino-esque. But it's an anthology film. It has like 5 different like segments to it. It reminds me of like Amores Perros also, if you've seen that. And it was nominated for the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film, and it's like, it is wild as the title suggests, but it's a lot of fun.
I've heard of this movie. I've heard good things, so I'll check. I'll try and find it.
Okay, cool. And Rue, did you have any other mentions for 15 here?
Yeah, I'll go my 2. One here, everybody thinks for me. I love Age of Ultron. I don't care what anybody else says. I really like that film. I think it's good, and I can't hear Spader anymore without hearing Ultron. So I do like that film. I also think Ant-Man doesn't get as much love as it should. Ant-Man and the Wasp is whatever. It's okay. Ant-Man is really good. Paul Rudd, as I mentioned for My Love You Man, he's amazing. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is really good. Another underrated film where I thought Armie Hammer's career might get a little bit more shade from that because I feel like he should be getting more stuff. And then Henry Cavill. And then one of my favorite biopics, I think, Straight Outta Compton, which I was worried crazy about before it came out, and then I saw it, and I was like, O'Shea Jackson Jr. is his fucking father.
Yeah. Yep.
He is his fucking father, and he's a better actor than his father, which his father would probably admit. He's actually a really great actor. But Straight Outta Compton was great, and I was very happy about it. So yeah.
All right, awesome. And all right, so I think that Rue, we're saying goodbye to you now. So thank you again. You've made it on, I believe, every single one of these streams. You're one.
I shall be on the next one.
Yeah, you're one of the 4 or 5 elite. So I appreciate it as always, man. Thank you for making time. Good luck with the rest of your streams tonight. And as always, thank you for picking dope. Thank you for not forgetting that underrated movie.
Thank you so much, because I would have been mad if I would have got off and you said that. I would have jumped right back on.
Yeah.
What year you'd be on there? So
I'm looking out for you, man. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.
All right,
peace. All right, and so now we're bringing on Tony.
Sorry. Just quickly, this is production note. Whoever's trying to join the call and has been pressing it for the past 10 times, please stop. It just keeps bringing up a pop-up on me, and it's annoying me. If you are meant to be on, I'll tell you when to join in the call. That's absolutely no worries. Don't worry, we'll get to everyone as much as we can. But please, if the room is full and it says it once, please don't do it 15 times. Otherwise, I end up crying. Because it ends up,
we're not quite the Schmodown yet, where you have to keep trying to get into the Q&A afterwards and then get rejected. That didn't happen to me last Friday. And there goes Tony to defend.
It wouldn't be an Aaron stream without some shade thrown at the Schmodown.
I can't wait to go to a live event. I can't wait. But with that being said, we're gonna start bringing on people for 2016. I don't know what order they're coming in. I never do. So, Tony, just start bringing them on screen, and we'll find out as they get exposed here. Our first person. Oh, Mr. Jacoby.
Hello, my fellow Las Vegan.
Hello. You're in Las Vegas?
Yep.
I knew that because I keep up with things. I mean, I was totally.
We'll discuss this later.
It's great to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, good to be here. Happy to be here finally.
Yeah, welcome. This is your first time on the stream?
I think, unless I was on like one of the first ones for like a little bit, but I forgot. It's been so long. I have an attention span of a hamster, so I don't really remember.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Chad, you are on screen now, so you're like looking like a Star Wars villain right now. So.
I didn't realize.
How's it going?
How's it going, guys?
Welcome to your first time on the stream here. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well. And I think, do we have one more joining us, Tony? Or yeah, we do. Because these don't go long enough, and we've never had. This guy never gets on screen. I think his name's Malcolm. I think he's got an accent of some kind. Like I think he's British. Malcolm, how's it going? Good day, mate. You're muted. You're muted. I want to hear your accent.
I'm doing good.
Yeah, it's British for sure.
I just completely forgot to unmute myself.
You were so offended you muted yourself. I get it. Good to have you guys all on here. Some of your first time. So basically, just a reminder, it's not about the best movie. It's about your favorite movie. So and we are in the year 2016. So we're flying by this time. We've made it through 2 years in an hour 45, which is definitely our pace for every year so far. Yeah. So we're staying consistent here, and 2016 is a really great year. I have a lot of movies I think that could get mentioned. I was hinting to this movie when we were talking about Dope, and someone has an echo, so I think it's probably Chad. You may just want to mute yourself when you're not talking, or get some headphones. No big deal, but if that works. Okay, thank you. So my 2016 pick is I'll use the U word, underrated. It's a movie that I saw a trailer for it for another movie and saw about 30 seconds of it and stopped watching it. I knew kind of early on in the trailer. And it stars somebody who I expected to be a star in Gerard Carmichael, but it hasn't happened yet, at least. He kind of picked Collateral Beauty and then a few other not great movies. It's Slight, which is basically City Iron Man. It's an incredible superhero origin movie. Should have led to a franchise. It didn't. And I talk to people all the time about this movie, and no one seems to have heard of it or really been into it. It's a WWE production, so don't call me an A24 shill here. I went as opposite of A24 as possible here. So, and I went to see this movie in an empty theater. I didn't have to rent it out. I got to rent a theater for $10 basically because no one was in this movie. And I went to see it again, and no one was in the movie. And I felt that it represented, like a similar character to Malcolm in Dope here, and like a black, very intelligent nerd. And like it wasn't trying to and he was just trying to, make it work, really, it has, it's Scott, you can help me. The girl from Waves,
Taylor Russell.
Yeah. No, not Taylor Russell.
Renee Elise Goldsberry?
Storm Reed's in it. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay.
I should have pulled up the movie to look up.
From Euphoria also, right? Yeah.
Exactly, from Euphoria. Yeah. But yeah, I really like this movie. It's got a really, really great third act. The bad guy in the movie, I believe he was in the show Psych.
Dule Hill.
Oh, it's Dule Hill's the bad guy?
Yeah.
Charlie from the West.
Charlie.
From the West Wing?
Charlie from the West.
Oh yeah, there you go.
No, he's all
Charlie
Psych for me.
He reminds me a lot of Daniel Kaluuya in Widows, actually. I think that he kind of borrowed a little bit of that a few years later. So I don't want to sell this movie too much, but it's just like he plays a street magician, and that is integral part of the story. The end leaves you I wanted a full franchise of this. The end is such a great cliffhanger. This is a movie no one sees. Slight. So go ahead, Malcolm. You're muted though.
I'm not muted.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to. It looked like you were trying to talk. You have great talk motions before you talk. I can't tell.
Oh no. I was about to say, as I said in the chat, I think people stayed away from this movie because they knew it was a WB Studios movie because they don't have good reputation at being good movies. So I mean, I haven't seen it myself, but yeah, it's definitely one that I've been trying to find to watch. I just haven't got around to finding it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty tough to find. But has anybody seen this movie in here?
I have.
Okay,
it's fantastic. And how dare you say Dooley Hill with anything else but saying that he was salmon holes? Put some respect on it.
I can fix that.
I can fix that. Side note: Jacob Lattimore did. He was in Detroit, so he bounced back a little bit after Collateral Beauty. He was great in that movie. Slight is incredible. It's this movie. Aaron, you summed it up perfect. It's friggin' Iron Man, but urban. It's so good. He's super smart. The character writing in this is genius. How this came out of WWF or WWE, whatever they're calling themselves now, I have no clue because this is the same people that gave us See No Evil.
The Call.
The Call. No, I think this movie is generally really good. If you have not seen it, go see it, please.
If anybody has the Cinemax add-on on Hulu, you'd be able to watch it. So
nobody has watched Cinemax since the 90s after 11 p.m.
Early 2000s.
It's a part of my awakening. But that's for another. It's part of everybody's awakening.
Yeah.
Cinemax knows no bounds. But yeah, this is worth the rental. It's if you got a birthday coming up, maybe I'll send you money for you to rent this on Prime or something. But
really
check
good.
it out. I highly recommend it. Peggy, we're gonna go to you so you can get out of here.
Yeah.
My bad, but go ahead with your 2016 film.
Yeah, there's a very obvious one that I would pick, but I'm entrusting you gentlemen, one of you, to pick it. So I'm gonna pick the one I don't think you guys are gonna name. I'm gonna go with the spiritual sequel to Dazed Confused called "Everybody Wants Some" by Richard Linklater.
I knew Scott would want that one.
I'm sorry, Scott.
This is the best. This is my favorite part of these streams is watching Scott get his heart broken.
Yeah, he gets sniped every time.
I am so sorry, buddy. You want to know what?
It happens.
You have at it. You talk about it.
No. You go. You beat me to it. You beat me to it.
No, go, Peggy.
Maybe I should have gone with my first try. Sorry.
Great choice.
It is a fantastic film. It's about a baseball team, but there's not a whole lot of baseball in it. Just basically about like the chemistry and the different personalities. And it's the first weekend before college starts at a Texas college, and they are a ranked team that are very, very good. Glenn Powell steals the film.
Oh my God,
I say.
yes.
But I love everything Richard Linklater, and this is no exception. So if you dig Richard Linklater's work, if you liked Dazed and Confused, this is not a sequel per se. He calls it a spiritual sequel, but I think it's very, very much very enjoyable, and I think you like it too. So that's my pick. I trust you guys. Hopefully, maybe Scott, you'll pick the other one that I was gonna pick.
Yeah, if not, just message one of us. We'll definitely.
I'll be in the chat. I'm just gonna bounce so whoever was trying to
totally
get on can get into the chat room.
Thank you as always for being on, Peggy. You're a legend.
Love you guys. See you in the chat.
Bye, Peggy.
Bye.
Ooh, now I'm in the middle.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I know. It's
Come
just
in for it.
so we'll go ahead, Scott. Your heart's been broken. What's your second favorite movie of 2016? We don't want to know your first favorite movies. We want to know your second.
I'll just say that Everybody Wants Some was like that movie for me and my friends in college. Like we watched it multiple times. We would quote all of the lines to each other. We figured out who each one of us was, like what character each one of us was. Like it was that movie for us. And it's so much fun. Glenn Powell is by far the best, and he is the Matthew McConaughey character in this movie, like what Matthew McConaughey was in Dazed and Confused. And this movie is so much fun. Okay, my number two. Let's see. What do I want to say? I will go with 20th Century Women, which is a great A24 film. Sing Street, I think, is technically my number two, but everybody knows how good Sing Street is. So not everybody wants some. We just talked about that. 20th Century Women is it's a coming of age story, but it's basically the story of this young teenage guy, and he's been raised by his mother, who's played by Annette Bening in an amazing performance. And he basically lives in like this one house with like his mother and this like a couple of tenants, one of whom is like a painter played by Billy Crudup, and then there's Greta Gerwig, who plays like this like counterculture like hippie character. It's set in like the 60s in California or 70s, one of the two. And Elle Fanning is like the girl who he like has a crush on, but like doesn't love him back or whatever. So it's like kind of about how all of those female characters like affect his life as he grows up. And like this movie has some of like the best writing. It got nominated for an Oscar for screenplay, which like if there's one category that it was going to get nominated for, that's the perfect one. I think there's just like a lot of lines that stick in your brain, and yeah, it's a very underrated coming of age movie and like one of my top 3 A24 films actually. So I really like it.
I'll go first, and then hopefully other people have seen this one. But this is a movie that I have a very like convincing theory about, which is that the world is sexist. They see the title 20th Century Women, and they immediately are disinterested and don't go and see it. That's why I think so many people have still not seen this movie. Partially, at least, I think they judge that title and they think, "Oh, this movie won't apply to me. This movie isn't like." And I was raised by women. My father passed away when I was very, very young, so I was raised in a household very similar to this, and learned and like was very similar to the main character at younger points in my life. So it's just very authentically written and really has some powerful, poignant moments. I think it's on Netflix. Annette Bening, this is her best performance ever. And she has some incredible performances. Elle Fanning, it's so good, great. And it's not like a typical A24 movie for me. I think it's a lot more conventional than a lot of their work. So if a lot of their work's a little too auteur-y for you or a little too heady, I think this is a little more of a grounded story that maybe you'll respond to more. So great pick. Excellent pick. Anybody else seen this one?
Nope.
I'm 0 for 3 so far.
Yeah, I actually have seen it. I really like that one as well. I just like how they like covered like the lives of like all their characters, and yeah, the little boy was just basically, just very different from like what your typical like little boy would be like, because he's raised in like a different kind of scenario, and he's like concerned about like women and stuff like that, and it's just like the dynamic between him and Elle Fanning's character was really interesting, and how Greta's character's like basically like, bro, don't let her treat you like that. So yeah, it's
Also,
really
happy
good movie.
birthday to
Please
Greta Gerwig.
watch
Today
that
is her
one.
birthday. So.
Happy
I know she's
birthday,
watching.
Greta.
I know she's watching.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, she couldn't make it on the stream because it's her birthday, but she said she'll be on next time, which is in 2 Tuesdays.
Well, you better have me back.
If we let her on, we're pretty stacked. So like,
She keeps thinking it's next Tuesday, but next Tuesday is Highlander, which if you have not signed up for Highlander, Doug Cassell is on. And I call him Doug Cassell because he's Vince Cassell's like cousin or something. But if you haven't signed up for Highlander, I think most people on the screen have played it. I have yet to play it. Hopefully I get selected this next time, but it's next Tuesday. So definitely check out Highlander on this channel. Yeah, anybody else have any thoughts on 20th Century Women? I believe everybody who's seen it has talked about it. So check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I want to see. I missed it when it was on Netflix over here. It's actually come off Netflix since, so I'm probably going to try and catch it at some stage.
Yeah, and this leads me to a segue. We have a 20th century woman who is going to be joining us on the screen here because we only have 7 people. So we're going to add an 8th. She has quickly become a familiar face on the FPP channel. Hopefully Tony is getting ready to add her. It's her birthday today. It is Greta Gerwig, also known as Hellboy, also known as Haley, who is in her car risking her life to be on the stream right now. How are you, Haley?
I'm doing great. I just passed a traffic light that is completely out on the worst intersection in the town. So that's with fire trucks going through it. So that's great.
Well, I'm glad.
Also, I'm not driving, so.
Okay, yeah, no, I figured you weren't. I figured you weren't that dedicated to this stream. I just like, let me dream, let me believe. But glad to have you on. This is your second time, right? You were on previously. Yeah. Well, second is the best. So we're on 2016 right now. And we're gonna get to you in a minute. So we're gonna hang off on yours 2016. But go ahead, Chad, with your 2016 pick.
Sorry about that. I was looking up something. Yeah, so I this is a hard one. I highlighted quite a few, and so I'm between like 2. I think I might go with. Screw it. I'll just go with Moonlight, I guess.
God damn it! You piece of shit. I'm sorry. You
don't get the right to complain, okay?
It's my number 2 movie of the decade, Moonlight.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, you'll get to talk about it after me, I guess. So, I don't know. It's just like this one. Like I kind of saw it like after all the hype was coming out for it, and then I saw it in like not like a kind of a less than crowded theater, but there were still quite a few people. But like the movie is just like so important that like there were people walking out of the theater like during the beach scene. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, well, that right there just shows just how important this movie is, because it's like discussing topics that are like so real that like people are just like walking out of the theater just like talking about like homosexuality and like African American culture. Mm-hmm. And then just like the acting between like all 3 actors to basically like show you a good portion of the life of this man, and he ends up like not really being able to experience a lot of the love that people usually get to do, because it's so like shunned against him that like the only guy that he's ever able to like be with, he doesn't get to experience that with anybody else until like much later in his life, and it's a very emotional movie. Plus, you have the Mahershala is really great in that. So, yeah, I really like that movie a lot.
Has anybody not seen Moonlight in here? So everybody's seen it, right? Yeah. This is one of the reasons why, like, a lot of times I feel like the Oscar thing gets kind of poo-pooed around. This is why the Oscars do matter. Everybody did. I think the reason this is one of the most widely viewed A24 movies is the Oscars and the subject matter at hand. But exposure matters. Yeah, this is a great movie. I love all the performances. The middle performance is my favorite, just overall of the three. But yeah, I just Barry Jenkins, expertly directed. I really like Beale Street Could Talk as well, and I think that one is not brought up nearly as much, unfortunately. But yeah,
it will be.
Yeah. So Jake, we'll save your thoughts on Moonlight for the end here, since you're the one who loves it the most here.
Just passionate about it.
Yeah. Jacoby, what are your thoughts on Moonlight?
To be honest, I saw it on a plane, and I think that kind of ruined the mood and the atmosphere of really feeling something from that movie, because it was in between the meal that I was getting on the plane and dealing with people getting up. Yeah, I hear like the whirring in my ears. So I thought it was a good movie, but it's definitely one I definitely need to sit down and watch again, because everyone says it was great. I think I went into it with a little high expectations on Mahershala about his Oscar, because I thought he was great in it, but since he won the Oscar for it, I was expecting he'd be in it for a little longer. And since he's not, it's just he still gives a great performance in such a limited amount of screen time. But it was one of those cases of expectations. I think that goes to your point, just like we watched it because of the Oscars, but because it won the Oscar, I had these huge expectations for it, and I could imagine sitting and watching it if I didn't know anything about it, I'd be blown away. But so I have mixed feelings about Moonlight, but I definitely need to see it again.
Okay, Eggberry, what are your thoughts on Moonlight?
I think as someone who, oh my god, part of the LGBTQ community, it's one of those movies that we kind of need, because we get misrepresented a lot, and I think this does perfectly on representing LGBTQ life, especially with having people of color in the role, because it's usually some mediocre white guy being like, hi, I'm gay, but nothing else is up with me.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem.
And I'm so glad that it beat out La La Land.
Yes.
That was probably one of my favorite moments in Oscar history. But it's just a great movie. I think everyone should definitely check it out.
My one thing I wish is that it somehow beat out Green Book for the Oscar. Like, that would have been the greatest moment in the history of the world. If somehow it's like Green Book, wait, no, Moonlight again. Just like the world would have.
Roma was right there.
We wouldn't be in the same situation. Like, there could have been so many heroes for Green Book, but thus we were back to shitty movies winning Oscars. But this was a year a great movie won an Oscar in Moonlight, and it kind of threw back to like the 50s and 60s when like different types of movies could win Oscars. It was really refreshing.
It gave you kind of hope for a second, and then you lost it in Green Book won.
Yeah, exactly. They're like,
now it's back with Parasite winning.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster. King of Staten Island for the 2020 Best Picture.
Okay.
But
I had that title picture. And it was so good.
I'm just saying, I really, really dug that movie. Apatow hits for me. What can I say? I'm an Apatow whore. Anybody else have any thoughts on Moonlight before we move on to, let's see, Doug's pick?
I mean, duh. Dude.
Oh, yeah, Jake. Yeah. I forgot. Do you like this movie?
Jesus.
Do you like this movie?
My number two. Yes, it's my number 2 of the decade. So you would think that I am as far away from the experience of the characters in Moonlight pretty much as you can get. I'm straight. I'm white. I grew up in the Midwest. I had a upper middle class upbringing. My parents cared about me. There were no drugs around. So it's like you would think it would be so far away from my experience, but I think the thing that I connected with most emotionally is the difficulty of being able to express your love for somebody else in like a healthy way. And I can really relate to that. Like whether you're gay or straight, love is a bitch no matter what. So, and just like him just struggling so much to be able to express himself really in any way, because Chiron is so quiet. You're just like, everything is internal. You kind of have to project onto him what he's thinking. And it's just really rewarding. I mean, and this is one of the most gorgeous movies of the decade. The cinematography, the score is unbelievable. I think Jacoby, you were talking about somebody was talking about the beach scene in part 2. One of the most gorgeous compositions of any movie of the decade for sure. And I love all the people who play Kevin. All the actors play Kevin. Jarrell Jerome, who, if you haven't seen When They See Us, he absolutely kills. And When They See Us, he's amazing. And Andre Holland.
Yes. Yep.
If you haven't seen The Knick, watch The Knick for him. He is brilliant in The Knick.
Yes.
I hate The Knick so much.
It's a rough hang, but he's great in it. And and just I love the diner scene so much. It's one of the most romantic scenes of recent memory for me. I could go on forever, but we need to keep this moving. So
no, that's what the stream is for. That's for talking about. And I think we all agree for the most part. The biggest criticism I hear is that people go into it with too much hype, which is like, that's not the movie necessarily. But I do think this is a timeless kind of movie that people in 50 years can still watch, and I think we'll still be able to relate to a lot of what's going on. I have a feeling. I've been watching a lot of movies from like 50, 60 years ago lately, and still they like almost all the messages apply. So it's kind of cynical, but it seems like things don't really change. A lot of like the core like issues don't change. They just change their like kind of colors or shades. Eggberry, you had something to say?
It kind of goes to show you that you can make a relatable story even with marginalized characters.
Yes.
That argument gets brought up a lot when it comes to why there isn't enough representation.
Which is bullshit.
And like Jake said, has absolutely no like absolute qualities that would relate to the characters, but can still relate to the themes of the movie. And I think that's super important.
Yeah, and I think the more people can do that overall with the movies they watch, just in general, like stop going into movies saying this movie's not made for me. I'm not going to get anything out of this movie. I don't know anything about the characters or the world or the like. How are you going to and necessarily otherwise? And like one of the things that's coming up with a lot of movies I've mentioned, other people mention, is that I knew nothing about this movie going in. I knew nothing about that. Like, that's the idea. So, something like Moonlight, I hope it showed a lot of people that you can go into a lot of these different movies and you don't. And I think, maybe that applied to a movie like Parasite getting to win in 2019.
That's the whole point of stepping in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
Another
but sometimes people certain people just don't want differences or whatnot. But yeah, this is, I think, one of those movies that really broke through the mainstream. So
yeah, one last quick thought on Moonlight. So yesterday I was on Rouge's show, One Gotta Stay, check it out. And we were talking about these 4 other directors, and one thing we talked about is who would we be most excited for their next movie. For me, Barry Jenkins is leaps and bounds above all 4 of them. I am a Barry Jenkins stan. I like both of his 2 movies that have come out in the last 5 years are my number 1 of those years. Spoiler.
All right. Well, I love Beale Street as well. So I'm looking forward to talking about that next year, I believe. Is it
2018?
2018. Okay. Well, we'll be talking about it in a couple weeks, or months. Whoever knows when this stream will end. But I'm not complaining at all. So we're gonna move on from Moonlight. Doug, is it Doug's pick? No?
I'll go. It's fine.
Who decides that?
Wait, Chad? Oh wait, Chad. So yeah, let's go to Jacoby. We're gonna go to no. We're gonna go from Chad to we're gonna go to Haley here.
Wait, what, me?
You're going like
There's no rhyme or reason.
So we've gone. Wait, I don't decide. Who wants to go next?
Don't just pick.
I'll go.
Okay, someone help me. Someone go. I don't know.
I'll go. I
Doug.
just wanted to say one thing on Moonlight. Moonlight was a great insight to my mom's whole situation. For those that don't know, I was raised by a woman who is a lesbian. She had to be closeted. She was adopted when she was 11. She knew she was a lesbian at 11. She had to be closeted from 11 to 22, which was when I was born. So getting that insight of having to be closeted, any movie that deals with that, I love the insight, and I love this. I love to be able to watch it because it gives me a little perspective of what my mom went through.
Nice.
So we're in 2016. If you've watched so far, I have had a certain particular trend of movies. I'm leaving the one that is my real favorite of 2016 for hopefully Jacoby, because I think Jacoby has mentioned this movie before, so I'm hoping it comes up. Anyway, my movie's The Founder. If you've noticed a trend, I like a lot of biopics, guys. I like biopics. Real life incidents on a screen. I love it. This movie, Michael Keaton shows you why he was the Vulture before the Vulture. Why he could play a good villain, like in modern time. This movie made me utterly sick to my stomach watching it at parts. What he did to the brothers at the end of the movie, and to find out like that stuff is real. Like the handshake, nothing. They got nothing, and it's just a shitty situation. But the movie is so good. Like it shows you, it doesn't veer away from the nastiness that this man had done to these people. It like steers right into the curve, and it's a beautiful disaster to watch. The instant milkshake scenes, still to this day, is very uncomfortable. She is flirting with him while her husband is sitting right there. That movie is so uncomfortable. And then he ends up with her. Where was the penalties in this? This is really America to a T. Just look at it. There's no penalties. If you do bad things, you make it far in this world. That's what this movie teaches us. That's what America teaches us. We need to change, people. We need to change. Anyway, I'm going to get off my high horse. I really like this movie. Michael Keaton is fucking amazing in this movie. Nick Offerman, I've loved him since Park and Rec, and he's amazing in this movie. He's so good in this movie. There's a bunch of other characters that I can name, but I kind of don't want to hold up a bunch of people's time. I really like this movie. In case people want to talk about it, I want to leave some room.
This is a great pick. I totally forgot to even put it on my list. So again, those are like, this is a movie that was released at the wrong time of the year. It was released, I think, in like February, I believe, or like early, like. So by the time the awards came along, it was forgotten about.
No, it was released at the end of the year.
Oh, was it? So
December 16th.
Okay, so it was released too late. Maybe it was either buried, maybe, and like, but either way, loved this movie, and Patrick Wilson, I think, was really great in it. Also, like he kind of played a reverse role of like getting like screwed over. Usually, he seems like he'd be like the one screwing over. So I really
the screwer over.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good little reverse here. Michael Keaton's been picked every year so far on the stream tonight. So Michael's probably watching with Greta at their birthday party. Watching the stream.
Just the two of them.
Yeah, that's why they couldn't get on tonight.
Agreed. Nick Offerman in a serious role. He can play a straight man, and you laugh at some of this stuff, but like his heartache in this movie is
yeah. Just to go off on a tangent about Offerman, heart beats loud. It's not going to be brought up, but you want to talk about
that movie?
It might have the same amount of heart as Sing Street, dare I say, in a very different way. But Heart Beats Loud, just a wonderful movie. if you are an actual artist and have tried to get your music out there, you're going to get mad with some of the progression and the pace of the success with the artist. But you know what? Dream a little, have some fun. It's a movie. But Heart Beats Loud, it's a good, I think it's on Hulu or something, but it's a fun little, good upbeat music movie. But back to The Founder. Anybody have thoughts on The Founder?
I do. First of all, Doug, you stole my pick. Second of all,
getting them sniper picks all day.
The Founder is great. There's at the time this came out, I was working at McDonald's, and it's one of those ones that, like, when I went to see it, it was like to see sort of everything on how McDonald's sort of came to be, and it just was one of those things that I didn't know much about that history at all, and just to see it unfold, like, he really was an evil bastard, and Michael Keaton played him perfectly. The whole cast of this was great, and yeah, this is a really good movie.
Anybody else have that?
I loved The Founder too. It was on my short list for picks. Nick Offerman's great. Joe Carroll Lynch, I think, is such a great actor in everything that he's in. And he's amazing in this, and everything you said about Keaton's performance is just spot on. He deserved to be nominated. I mean, like that moment at the end after seeing him just be like a horrible person for the whole entire movie, for it to come down to when he's with the brothers and he's like, "You're gonna get your money, trust me." And it's like with the handshake there, you just know that he's a crock of shit. That's what he is. And that speech that he says of why he did it, of just like, hey, yeah, Croc's such an ugly name. It's like McDonald's like a wholesome name. It's such a good culmination to the end of that movie. So it's it was and now I'm kind of hungry for McDonald's. But besides that,
it does make you hungry for McDonald's. It does the opposite of what it should by the end of the movie. Definitely after this movie was over, me and my brother went to McDonald's and we're like, this is the problem. But just the little things with the instant milkshake and just the chiseling away at the ideals of something as a business owner myself, I just watch that movie now and imagine my ideals getting chiseled away and how much that would suck to see for just a small big paycheck at a moment. But what you really care about matters more than overall success, and you just see that exemplified in the two McDonald's the Kroc brothers, and just this is a really great pick. The movie is aged like a McDonald's hamburger and that it hasn't aged at all. It's perfect. So, any other thoughts on The Founder before we move on?
Yeah, I actually saw the Founder on a plane, so I don't know what it is about plane movies, but I didn't love it or anything when I saw it, but all the love going towards it makes me kind of want to watch it again. I always do enjoy watching Michael Keaton pretty much do anything. So
yeah, he's really great in this movie. Great pick. Doug, great pick. All right, so now that my producer's giving me notes, very fancy notes, Malcolm, go ahead with your. By the way, Eggberry, your aesthetic only makes more sense now that you're by. Yeah, this adds up too well. But Malcolm, go ahead with your 2016 pick.
I mean, those people who know me probably expect that I'm going to go one way. I'm going to go the other way because I've got two movies that I've got in mind. One of them may get picked by someone else, but the other one I'm pretty sure won't. I'm going for Hunt for the Wilder People.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
This is a great Kiwi movie, Taika Waititi and Sam Neill and all that. It's just one of those fun movies about a man and the man/boy and his dog. Just one of those sort of things, and just Sam Neill, who from the start of the movie, clearly did not want Julian Dennison around at all. Just the fact that they end up get stuck together and they have to go through the wilderness and kind of get to know each other, knows about each other. They just sort of at the end, actually coming to you're a really cool person, and actually coming to sort of start liking each other by the end of the movie. Just everything they do is just great. Like, it's got a lot of the classic actors you'll see from in other Taika movies, like Rachel House, who was in Thor Ragnarok, is in this as well. Got Sam Neill, who's also in Thor Ragnarok. But it's like just one of those ones. It's a fun movie, and if you have never seen it, I recommend it to everyone.
I think we've all seen it. I think most are big fans, I would assume.
I haven't seen it, actually.
I am a big fan of this movie.
Yeah, Jake, go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I don't have that many, but I am a big fan of this movie, and I can totally understand why the people who were behind Deadpool 2 wanted Julian Dennison, because it's a fantastic child actor performance. He's just such a dick, and it's delightful. And I just love Sam Neill going against type and playing a more comedic character. I mean, we all think of him as Alan Grant, and this is about as far away from Alan Grant as you can get. Yeah, it's just really, and it's got the classic Taika charm and humor that he imbues in all of his movies, and is why I'm such a huge fan of him. And he always brings the heart too. And yeah, and it is ultimately, it is quite moving by the end, their bond. So yeah, this movie's great.
Yeah, Jacoby, have you seen?
Yeah, I just saw it recently. I think like 2 or 3 months ago for like the first time. And it's didn't surprise me of how great it was, because Taika Waititi's just got like the heart and the humor like down locked. Like Jake said, it's super good from start to finish, super enjoyable. Watching Sam Neill be all gruff is amazing, and just the subject and the story that he tells is not one that I thought I would like as much as I did, but it's great. And it just made like, yeah, if you watch that movie when it was released, you should know like Taika Waititi is going to be a big time director someday.
People still could not say his name when this movie came out. That Taika Waititi was not able to be said till Thor Ragnarok was like fully out.
That is true, but it's
before
like
that was like Takiki Wakiki. Have you seen that Takiki Wakiki movie? So like
it has Alan Grant in it. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one knows anybody's names. It's like vaguely described. But sorry, go ahead.
So no, I'm just saying it's great. That's all. I'm just reiterating that in different ways.
Yeah. And Doug, did you have any thoughts on this movie?
This is the reason why this and What We Do in the Shadows are the two reasons why it's like what Taika Waititi's got my money whatever he does. Whatever he does. It doesn't matter. I will go see a Taika Waititi movie. Jake has Barry Jenkins. I'm a Taika Waititi shill. I will go see anything.
I'm also a Taika Waititi shill.
Cool.
Fine.
Shill, you've got a problem. It's like he's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, big fan of this movie as well. Haley?
I've actually not seen this movie in particular, but I'm just here to jump on the Taika Waititi train.
Okay, well, we'll add that to a particular list that won't be discussed here. Yeah, see you on the other side. Any other thoughts on Hunt for the Wilder People before we move on from anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty cute movie. Just the relationship between the two characters, and another one under Taika's belt. Well, I mean, one of the first ones or whatever, but that one was really good. And then there was another one too that I'm trying to remember the name of it, with another little boy.
Is it Boy?
I'm sorry?
Boy. That's the name of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was another one really good. He just makes great movies. I'm always down for a Taika movie.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. This one is on Hulu also. Jake mentioned it in the private chat, but this one's on Hulu. It's a good one. Very, very it's one of those like very I describe it as a very therapeutic watch for most people. So yeah. Good choice there. Malcolm, I'm kind of shocked, but I'm sure that you'll go back to your ways here.
Well, I mean, I can't bring up movie 43. That was 2013. So
you can pick the 5-year anniversary next stream. Then. So Jacoby,
the Criterion release.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my turn.
Yeah, it's your pick for 2016 here.
2016 is tough. Doug put a lot of pressure on me because I feel like I know what movie he wants me to pick, and
you're not pick it.
I want to, because it's like the question is this U.S. released or overall released?
Whatever. There's the whatever. If you can find it.
Tony says it's British release.
If you can find a 2016 release somewhere on it, I'll allow it. So.
All right, then I had one in mind here, but I guess knowing that while looking at this, that this movie was released actually in Japan first in 2016,
Okay.
I got to go with this one. It's Your Name, which is it's just the best time traveling love story movie that you can imagine. I mean, like it scores above almost anything else. What this movie makes you feel for what starts off as just a simple body swap comedy turns into something about, just about destiny, about changing your fate, about standing up for yourself in order to become your own person. It's about honoring what came before while, paving your own type of way forward. The score of this movie is just like is just incredible. And I love this movie. So it's such a beautiful movie. So Your Name. Favorite movie.
Is this Studio Ghibli?
It is not.
Okay. This is Mizugaki. Who is behind this one?
I always forget his name. Doug, do you know by chance?
Mizugaki.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Okay.
Makoto Shinkai.
Okay, I am sorry for that moment of accidental diet racism there by me. But I'm very ignorant. I don't watch a lot of Japanese animation. This is Japanese animation. I hope. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now before I get Tony channeled their second strike for me going off on a rant. I shouldn't go on. Would you suggest this to somebody who isn't very familiar with this medium? I'll say.
I think so too. I think a lot of people love romance stories, which this movie is. A lot of people love comedy, which this movie's hilarious, and a lot of people love time travel, or just not even time travel per se. It's just like with a science fiction element involved into it that makes it really just watchable. There's a few gut punches in this movie as the story kind of unfolds that just hits you so hard because you're so invested in these two characters' lives so I love it. So I recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead, Doug.
I was very proud of myself that I didn't cry through this movie until the end. The end broke me.
I cried during the end.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's a beautiful movie. Take anime out of the narrative. It's a beautiful film. The artistry in this, the script, the dialogue, how you see this film is ridiculously gorgeous. I was so happy. This is my favorite film of 2016, but I had to go with my gut check for Founder. But this movie, I'm an anime nerd. I love it. Everything, I engulf it. But for this movie, I could even say that outside people that don't typically like these types of movies, they can find something in the movie.
Because it's just a great story, from start to finish.
Yeah.
Yes.
And obviously you sub over dub, right?
I saw. Listen, there's certain things. If I start an anime in dub, I gotta finish it in dub.
Yeah, it's weird to switch back and forth. It's jarring.
I saw this for the first time this year, and I loved it. I didn't know what to expect because I've heard Jake Marangoni go off about Your Name so many times, and I was worried that I was going to go in and watch it. I was just going to not get the same reaction out of it because Jake's talked so much about that. It's kind of got high expectations. It just ends up being flat, but I loved it. It's worth all the hype that it's been given, and yeah.
Cool.
Only one JCam has seen it because I have not.
Okay.
Very high on my watch list.
Scott, have you seen this?
No, but I just started watching a bunch of Miyazaki's because they're all on HBO now, and I have loved almost every single one I watch. So I want to watch it because everyone says it's great. Your Name, that is.
All right. Then, so Chad, have you not seen Your Name?
I have. And I actually really love this one. It might be one of my favorites, maybe along with Spirited Away, but Your Name just really, really elevates the art form. I feel like Doug was saying so passionately. I watched it once by myself, and then I watched it again with my wife, and I loved it both times. I think I watched the dub first, and then we watched sub second. I think they're both great, to be honest. But I'm actually kind of like a new anime person, so like the non-anime people that Doug was saying. That's kind of me, and I still loved it. And
the non-anime people need to find the right anime.
Yeah, and it's just like the music in that movie too is just like so great. It's just like it's just a great mystery story too. And then once you find out kind of like what the brunt of it is, it does hit you really hard, and you're like, whoa.
Oh, man.
Really great. And then the other piece to it is Weathering with You is like a related one that came out that's also really good.
All right.
It's from the same director guy. He's just great.
All right. Haley, you've seen Your Name, I assume?
Yeah, and pretty much everything I've said has been covered, and all I will say about it, as I said just a couple seconds ago, this is a good starter. Like, there are people that are just dead set against anime for whatever reason. This is the prove you wrong kind of example that's really good.
Okay. I thought Tony was going to come on.
Tony's going to hop in there.
I dare you.
So he's like, you guys are all in the same, order. I need to screw up the order for Aaron a little bit. All right, fine, sold. I feel like a loser for not seeing this movie sooner, I guess. So I'm sorry. Don't judge me. But
I forgive you.
Yeah, please forgive me. I feel like that would be a good name for an anime. Please forgive me or something. Like, but
it's a great anime. 2013.
There might actually be.
Please forgive me. Can you ever forgive me? Is that one? Wait,
that's a movie.
It's an anime version
for 2018
movie. It's great.
Wait, what movie is Can You Ever? Oh, that's the Melissa McCarthy movie.
It's a fantastic.
It'll come up later.
Good.
It's really good.
Really good movie.
movie.
Excellent performance. Richard E. Grant is heartbreaking in that movie. Back to 2016. All right. This is the 2.5 hours around this time is when I start turning into a pumpkin. So perfect. Speaking of pumpkins, Haley, give me your pick for your 2016 movie.
I'm going to go with one pick, but I'm going to make that my honorable mention. I'm going to go with another because I had to double check a certain release date from a movie that I really loved. It actually came out in January of 2016. I mentioned it in the comment section. The movie is Room. I'm surprised it actually came out in 2016. And when I checked, I was like, that doesn't seem right. But it did. And for some reason, it's still marked as 2015 on some sites because it's so early in the year, I guess. I don't know. But I think it's one of those movies with a very simple premise. It's dark and deep, but it's very cut and dry. And it's just got a lot of heart in it. And it's the movie I have pointed people to when I've had arguments about Captain Marvel and Brie Larson can't act. I'd be like, okay, watch Room. She can definitely act. It's definitely my favorite performance of her, and it's a movie that just stuck with me the minute I saw it. And like you've said before with movies, Aaron, it's a movie that when I went to watch it, I had no idea what it was about. Mm-hmm. So I'm literally watching them sit in a room. I'm like, is this like a post-apocalyptic, like doomsday bunker type of situation? Then I realized, oh wait, kidnapping. Okay. Yeah. And then it's a movie that sticks with you.
Yeah. Jacob Tremblay is amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
Super good.
I don't know if there's a better kid performance.
It's way up there.
I think like all time, like it's up there with Tatum O'Neal. It's up there with all the greats of all time, like kid performances. Macaulay.
I'm highlighting Nick Carley's comment because this needs to be said.
Oh yeah, she definitely was great in Short Term 12 as well. I agree.
It's a great movie, yeah.
But yeah, back to Room. This is A24 also, and again, I think another A24 movie that is much more grounded and pretty not surface. I mean, not like surface level, but it's a movie my mom could follow and understand the plot like afterwards. Like it's not like a climax or a under the skin type of scenario here. It's pretty straightforward, but it's really well executed. It's got a really, really good trailer too, which I watched after the movie. But the trailer is really, really great. The truck scene is just one of the best scenes, like in a movie, definitely of that year. Like you're on the edge of your seat for that. So that's a great pick. Anybody else have any thoughts on Room?
So hard to watch, but so good.
Yeah.
It sticks with you. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, this is one I've yet to see. It's on Netflix for me at the moment, but I avoided it when it first came out in the theaters because I thought it was just a re-release of The Room. So yeah,
it's a little different pace, just slightly. Anybody else have any thoughts on Room before we move on?
Yeah. I saw this one because of pretty much because of the hype surrounding Brie Larson's performance. I remember Dan Murrell was speaking about this on Screen Junkies, and I was like, I got to see that. I watched the movie and then I read the book, and I just think it's like a really interesting like concept about like a kid, being locked away or whatever, and then like everything in his room is just like the only world that exists to him. It's just like an interesting concept, but like so dark, and you're just like, what? And it's just really great. So I really like that one too.
Yeah. Great pick. I'm glad that it was dragged through so many years and releases that you finally got to bring it up, and that we didn't have to throw hands, because during these times of COVID, that's extra dangerous. So I'm glad we avoided that.
Socially distancing.
Yeah, avoided that hand transaction. And hashtag hand transaction. That is the hashtag for the night. Great. Jake, get me out of this.
I'm more than happy to do so.
Yeah,
okay, we're going to keep the A24 train going.
There we go.
My number 2 is also an A24 movie, and I know it's one that Aaron does not like very much, but I happen to think is incredible, and that's Green Room.
Okay.
I absolutely adore this movie. It is just relentless. That's the word I would use for this. It's just absolutely intense from the moment they get to this Nazi compound out in the woods. I mean, it's like before that, like the first 10 minutes before it is just like, it's a really kind of interesting look at just a punk band just on the fringes, just trying so desperately to get by. And then it turns into this absolutely crazy, intense thriller / horror movie. I classify it more as a thriller than a horror movie. It was a festival movie in 2015, but it wasn't released in theaters until 2016, so that's why it's here. But yeah, Anton Yelchin died, I think, a couple months after this movie came out, and it's obviously profoundly sad no matter what, but especially coming off of this movie, and he's great in this movie. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, man, what a loss, because this was going to be the catapult for him to being like a real guy. He obviously been in the Star Trek movies, but like really taken seriously as an actor. I think he's absolutely fantastic in this. Patrick Stewart is terrifying. Picard is scary. Like, what? It's just, and he's perfect in the role. And everybody is really, the whole cast is great. I absolutely love the whole desert island band discussion that recurs throughout the movie. And it's a really great subversion of these characters who they just think they're so punk. Mm-hmm. And then, but like when they're faced with the end of their life, they're like, oh no, Prince is my desert island band, Madonna. And it's just like, it's just a great moment of levity in an otherwise unbelievably intense movie. And like, that's why it's just so visceral to me, which is why it really stuck with me. And it's one I love to revisit. I rewatched it again in quarantine to study for our match, Scott. And it's I love this movie.
Yeah. I'll get my thoughts out of the way first. I still like this movie. It's just not one of my favorites. I went into it with the fault of my own of high expectations. And I guess I was expecting a little bit more, and sometimes it's okay not to get more. But I had gotten trained with A24 from a few other releases to expect a little bit more than what I got, I guess. But it's really well executed. I agree. Anton Yelchin is a total loss. In this movie, he is fantastic. Love Antosha is an excellent documentary. If you're interested in more on Anton Yelchin, it came out this past year. But yeah, it's a good pick. There's a bunch of A24 I like way more, so I'll give up the floor to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I like this movie, but I'm kind of with Aaron. It's not quite in my top 10 A24. It's close, but I do think it's really good. I think Imogen Poots is great in everything. I think she should be in more stuff if we're talking about the cast. But yeah, it's a very nasty film, which is both a good thing and a bad thing.
It's a thing I love about Jeremy Saulnier and his movies is he just like it's real like this in Blue Ruin from 2014. It's like he just it's just like it really deals with the real world consequences of violence. It doesn't gloss it up at all, and it's like it's really realistic portrayal of like what this would do to a person. This sort of violence.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
I do. Green Room. I had a blast with that movie. Like, it's just like because there's all the setup, but then like it ends up like one of the characters decides he wants to be a badass, and it's just great. Like when you talk about like favorite movies, like this one, you can just like really just enjoy it. It also kind of like was my first introduction to like that one director you mentioned, and Macon Blair. And Blue Ruin, and that movie's just fantastic as well. Kind of, well, maybe a little bit of a downer, but if you like those kind of movies, I would say Green Room and Blue Ruin would be a good double feature. But those kind of movies, I mean. But
palate cleanser.
Yeah, I thought Green Room was a blast. I like that one.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Green Room that much.
Yes,
like I thought the acting in that was fine, but I just kind of got lost in the story. I had no idea what the where it was going. I mean, maybe I need to rewatch it.
I don't think it's like a rewatch of you got it.
I find it incredibly rewatchable.
I mean, I don't think you're missing things though. Like if you're like, oh, I feel like I missed something, and you got it.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
If you have a lazy Saturday, you're just like, hey, let's put on Green Room, just to see.
But one thing is there any other movies with room in the title that came out in 2016? Because there was the Disappointments Room, Green Room.
Yeah, there's a lot of rooms.
Get a
room. Green room.
The escape room. Do you have any thoughts on this movie, Haley?
I have not seen this movie, but someone mentioned Imogen Poots, so I have to bring up, if you have a strong will and you're not very sensitive to certain subjects, watch Filth, please. It is a very dark, intense, gritty, but very well done movie. That's all I gotta say.
It's on Netflix, by the way.
Filth co-signed on that one. Such a great film.
And Roadies is one of the greatest canceled too soon shows ever that only made it one season on Showtime that she was in, from Cameron Crowe. And I'm still mad that they canceled it after 9 episodes, but she was great at it.
Yeah, and Art of Self-Defense is the A24 movie that got away.
I love that one.
Somehow A24 didn't pick that movie. It's the most A24 movie ever that wasn't made by A24. So it's very fun. And just a side tangent on that movie. When I went to see that movie, there was only 2 open seats, and one of which was it's my show. There's going to be plenty of side tangents. I'm sorry, Jake, if being long-winded is bothering you. But that's the pot calling the kettle.
Tangent of a movie that came from a tangent. On a tangent.
So yeah, exactly. Tangents on tangents. But really quickly, there was the handicap seats right in the middle before the front rows of seats at movies. There were those seats left, and then there was like a seat way to the side that wasn't handicapped. Almost took the handicapped seats, and then I decided to take the non-handicapped seat. Like 30 minutes into that movie, in come like some very handicapped people that like take this handicapped seats, and then on the screen there's like a very similar type of scene in Art of Self-Defense. I realized halfway through that story, not a great story, but yeah, but it was funny for me and my buddies.
But you're committed to it, so you had to finish.
Yeah, I was already talking about it, and
You couldn't just curl up and be like, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I got some popcorn. That was it. That's the story.
So, you had to be there for it. And, speaking of having to be there for it, we have gone to the end of 2016. So, any honorable mentions that anybody wants to get going?
A lot.
So, everybody has honorable mentions here. So, put your
I have a
hands
lot.
down. But I appreciate the order. We're going to go ahead and go around here. We're going to go the opposite way. So Scott's going to have all of his picks taken. Jake, go ahead and start. And then we're going to work Jacoby, Chad.
All right, real quick. The Nice Guys. Sorry. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is better, but Nice Guys is like Shane Black still got it when he's making his own thing and not doing a franchise movie. And then my other one, just real quick, Pop Star is hilarious. I love the music. Connor for real.
For which one?
Life. Pop Star.
Pop Star, never stop.
Never stop.
Yeah, I'm a huge Lonely Island fan, and this more than delivered. So, yeah, those are my two.
Andy Samberg, this is one of his better performances. It's right up there with Hot Rod, which is right on this channel yesterday in a watch along. So if you're looking for some cool people to watch along with if you ever wanted to watch Hot Rod with Haley, me, a girl named Kayla, and Adelaide, we have the watch along for you on this channel. So go ahead and check it out. It was here yesterday. Plug. Anyways, any thoughts on Popstar from anybody? I don't know if we're doing thoughts for honorable mentions.
Probably not. Let's keep going.
I guess we're at 3 hours already, and we still have 1 year to go. So, and Tony, I haven't heard from Tony in a while, but I'm sure he's having a great time. Jacoby, any honorable mentions for you?
I would have picked The Nice Guys as like my first. That was like the one I was going back between. But since I can't now, I will choose for my honorable mentions Hell or High Water. I think is a great movie.
Good choice.
From start to finish, it shows that Chris Pine just like can really act. Like he's like doesn't have to play like a pretty boy. Like he's actually quality. And Ben Foster, I think, is one of the most underrated actors working today, along with an amazing performance by Jeff Bridges. So I love that. And then I'll only name one more. I'll go with a surprise one. I'm actually going to go The Accountant. Gavin
O'Connor.
Gavin O'Connor movie. It's like a movie that you just like I didn't expect anything from this movie. I thought it was going to be terrible. I really did, but it turned out when I watched it, I was really surprised. There's like one subplot with J.K. Simmons that could be like cut out from that movie that like because it has no bearing to that story. But other than that, I think it's actually a really surprising, a really quality movie about Ben Affleck being a mob accountant. So I would say those ones.
That's a great shout. I love The Accountant. And that was a movie that I went into with less than no expectations about it. And I was just like, man, this is like reminds me of just like a 90s like throwback action, solid, not
Absolutely.
a stinger. Great choice. Chad, any honorable mentions for you?
Yeah, actually, like one of my favorite horror directors is Mike Flanagan today, and he came out with 2 great movies that year. He came out with Ouija, Origin of Evil, and Hush. Yes, those are like 2 really great movies that like just like when people say like, well, horror's not doing too hot, it's like you're just not watching the right movies probably. And then of course, it's the Winter Soldier came out that year. That's
Civil War.
Yeah. Oh, Civil War came out I year.
Yeah. We discussed Winter Soldier already.
Civil War is you're right. Civil War is definitely a great one, but I was thinking about talking about the Winter Soldier. The other 2 that I wanted to talk about real quick were just The Shallows. Another really good horror movie. Because if you if you like sit there and you think like, well, it's like Jaws came out and then every shark movie after that is trying to like live up to Jaws. I feel like The Shallows just like was like, well, we don't even have to live up to Jaws. Here's a nice fresh take on a shark movie. And Blake Lively was really good in that. I highly recommend that one. And then another one that I felt could have probably, if it would have been nominated, I don't think it would have beat like Moonlight or anything, but Captain Fantastic was another one that I really loved.
Good choice.
And I really like George McKay a lot because I also love 1917 quite a bit. So I'm hoping that he starts to get more roles because I really like that guy.
Nice. All right, Malcolm, what are your honorable mentions?
Yeah, one movie that I'm slightly surprised but not surprised considering who's here that wasn't mentioned is the one that's above my shoulder here, La La Land. I really love La La Land. I think it's a great movie. I know people don't like it. I won't go into more. And one that and a movie that I do like is I actually do really enjoy Sausage Party. I do think it is a fun rated animated movie.
Okay. Scott, I'll let you go real quick. Then I'll go to the top tier people on the bottom row.
Oh, I'm not a top tier person. I see how it is.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta get the Tennessee trash out first here.
Yeah.
I can't believe it at 3 hours. I'm sorry.
I can't believe no one has said Arrival yet, but
seriously,
I was so close. I would have.
I'll say my
movie,
two before. Yeah, but go.
Yeah. It's a weirdly like soothing movie to me. I don't know. It's like a good like comfort movie, I think, even though it's not like super peppy and optimistic or anything like that. But it's a wonderful movie. Then a few that like people may be less aware of. Patterson, which is a Jim Jarmusch movie with Adam Driver playing a bus driver, is another very like soothing and that's one of another movie like where you could say nothing happens, but like life happens. So I like those types of movies. The Handmaiden is a really like crazy South Korean movie.
Yes.
If you like Parasite, watch this movie because it has the same like I have no idea what's going to happen next like feel that
this movie is
Parasite
bad
had.
shit.
But don't watch it with your parents. So that's all I'll say. Let's see. There was a couple others that I had. Oh yeah, Christine is a good movie, but the performance by Rebecca Hall is like really the reason to watch this movie. It's one of the best performances I've ever seen. Honestly, like she's great in everything, but she plays it's a true story about a TV reporter who shot herself on live TV, and like it's one of the best portrayals of mental illness, like performance-wise that you'll see, as she's absolutely great in it. And then the other one I had was Manchester by the Sea, is best Kenneth Lonergan movie in my opinion.
One not time, rewatchable.
One time
no,
was
definitely not.
One time was enough. Dude, that reveal, like I didn't hear anything about it like beforehand. I can't imagine that being spoiled for me like beforehand, but like I was like, no way is this where I was like, oh my God. And like, he just kept revealing details about, I'm like, okay, this adds so much content. I've never gone back and rewatched it because like, but I'm sure like, it's like a Sixth Sense like reveal when you go back and rewatch it. You're like, oh, well, this is why this character treated me. That's a great choice.
Manchester was by the sea the whole time.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Whole thought choice. Manchester was the name of the boat. So my honorable mentions are two kind of basic, I think both Disney movies, Zootopia and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was so awesome. And I know it took a lot of Inception and maybe some other movies and did it better, but I like this more. So I had fun with the psychedelic aspects of it, believe it or not. Wow,
really?
Yeah. I just.
I wonder why.
I know, Eggberry. Sometimes I like to branch out. And Zootopia. I like animals. I like talking animals. I like a world where talking animals exist and go to work. And I talk to Chico all the time. He talks back. So it was nice to see my reality brought to screen. Zootopia, wonderful. Shakira, right? Shakira's the,
Giselle.
Exactly. Yeah, she's a Giselle, Gazelle, whatever you want to call her. Gazelle Bell. I was trying to come up with a pun on Jezebel. Haley, what are your honorable mentions?
My two honorable mentions are very basic picks, but they're also very good movies. Deadpool.
Nice.
That movie. I saw that in theaters with my dad, and it was hilarious. And I wish I could have my first time watching it over again, because I've watched it too many times and the jokes have run out. But like, that first time was golden. My second pick, my niece made me watch it back to back on repeat, and that would be Moana. It's one of my favorite Disney movies, and
Well, baby.
it's just so good, and it brings up a mythology that we like don't commonly know, and it's making it like accessible to kids, and I think that's really cool. And it's just catchy. You're welcome is such a good song.
Yeah, you're welcome. Some of the best water ever in an animated movie too. The water is so beautiful.
Yes.
Water is something that so many animated movies screw up. It's one of my biggest pet peeves with animated movies is water. And this movie, it's like, it's just beautiful. It puts you in a good mood, whether you're listening to it's a great background movie. It really is. You can look up and be put it. So great choices. Doug, your picks for 2016 honorable mentions, then we'll get some people out, people in.
I'm going to keep this as quick as possible. One of the best 2010s coming of age story, Edge of 17. Fantastic movie. If you have not seen it, watch it. I'm going to go over, I'm going to do this as quick as possible. I'm going to hit both these in one foul swoop. Two of the most intense horror movies that I've watched. Both have to do with being silent or being in the light. Lights Out, Don't Breathe, excellent. And the last one I'm going to hit on is most people haven't seen this movie because they're afraid of subtitles. Go watch Train to Busan. It's a fucking great zombie movie. It's probably my favorite zombie movie of the modern age right now. It does things and it has a really good story to it. Just go watch it. Turn the subtitles on. Don't be afraid to read. Your attention span can't be that bad. Look at me.
Yep. Good job. Yeah, you've been here for at least a portion, if not all of this stream here. Your attention spans are great, people. We're approaching the 3-hour mark. We're going to cut a few people here. Liz, Jacoby, thank you so much for making it on. It's always great to see you. Always great to have your thoughts, and we'll be talking soon about our favorite TV shows.
Yes, I am super excited for that. And I just have to throw out the 2016. I realized that I forgot my favorite actor, Michael Shannon, had a great year in 2016 because he had Midnight Special, Elvis and Nixon, and Nocturnal Animals, which he was amazing in all three of those movies. And with that,
Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, that's
a movie too. Yeah, that's something. All right.
And thank you. And Chad, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
You fit right in. We love having you on. So looking forward to seeing you again soon. We'll see you on the trivia leagues and everything.
Yep.
Have a great night. Peace out. Yep. All right. And then Tony, I believe we're bringing on one more person.
Looks like Doug.
I got to head out.
Doug needs to leave as well. So Doug, you don't have to go, but you got to get the fuck up out of here. So, all right. Great to have you on as always, man. We'll see you
next week. Can I just say my only pick for 2017 is Coco. I took it.
Okay.
Coco.
Fair enough. He was trying to break some hearts. He didn't break. Oh, he did. That was my pick. Oh well.
So I guess we couldn't remember him.
Yeah. And so we will not remember Doug Cassell. So we have one more person coming on, right, Tony? Yeah, in my ear he does. Tony, you can go ahead and bring him on stage now. Thank you so much. And it's Mr. Garth. How you doing, Garth?
All right, good to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Again, Malcolm.
Yeah, Garth, I believe you've made it on every stream so far as well.
Might have missed one, but no, maybe I made everyone.
Okay, well, either way, I mean, we're on our 9th or something on day 2 of this stream, my birthday stream. Thank you all for joining me on my birthday again. So nice of you all.
Everlasting birthday.
Who did we just lose, Scott?
Yeah, Scott. I don't know if it was internet connection or
what.
I think everyone goes. That's how it is.
Yeah. Oh God, here we go. And with that sob story, I'm just kidding, Garth. We're going to get to our 2017 picks. And my pick was Coco. So I guess that doesn't count now that Doug has revealed it. So
You never explained anything about it.
So Coco is my pick then. I am not always the biggest Pixar fan, but when Pixar hits me, it hits me directly in my entire heart all at once. I went into this movie expecting it to be a story about a boy and his dog, and it didn't really end up being that. It ended up being much more than that for me, though. It was kind of with about a holiday, about a culture I'm not all familiar with, and as a result of this movie, as stupid as it sounds, it caused me to delve into the culture more. It caused me to delve into the themes more and learn more about this. But without that, still, I just felt like it was a super compelling movie about truly connecting with your family, with your roots, with just explorations of mortality as a child and being introduced to it as a child. Again, I don't want to get too far into it, but lost my dad at an age before I knew what death was and the effect, and was ready to handle that. And the effect that has on a kid, I feel like was really brilliantly explored and explained in this movie. And just overall, the music is some of my favorite. The individual attention to detail with like how the animators lit up every single light and just, it was just gorgeous. It was a beautiful, beautiful movie. Really, really heartfelt, and just I dug it. So I don't know. I'm obviously not the only one. Doug really liked it. Anybody else have any thoughts on Coco?
Yeah, I think this might be the best looking Pixar movie. I think it's stunning to look at, and if you don't cry at the end, you are a monster.
Yeah,
because
my brother,
I don't know if
my brother didn't cry at the end, and
then he's a monster.
Yeah, he is.
I was a complete blubbering mess at the end of that movie, and that does not happen very often. So yeah, this movie's fantastic.
I did cry at the end of Coco, but didn't cry at the beginning of Up. So I'm still a monster.
It's true.
Anybody else have any other thoughts on Coco?
I'm ashamed to say I still haven't seen it.
Disney
It's
Plus.
my favorite Pixar movie.
This is your favorite?
Yeah. Well, this wasn't my favorite of the year. 2017 is just a packed year for me. But this is my favorite Pixar movie. One of my closest lifelong friends made me watch it and had me tell her what I was thinking through each part of the movie. And we were both ugly crying when we watched it. My dad actually popped in when we were watching it, and he's not a big Pixar fan. He's a middle-aged man, so why would he be watching it? He actually got sucked into it, sat down, watched it with us, and he also enjoyed it. I'm not lying.
You're saying your father cried on screen. He cried.
He did not cry.
Oh,
so,
he's
a monster.
So, that's what I gotta say.
That's great. So Scott, you really should check this one out.
Every Pixar that I've seen, I like to love. So there's no reason that I haven't watched it. So.
Yeah, and Haley's dad is a monster. It's confirmed. So
he's literally Lord Vader in my phone.
Lord Vader. He didn't. He was, just an. I'm not going to go into that one either. I'm just going to abandon ship. Hooray! Go ahead. You know what, Garth? I'm feeling generous. I want Haley to go last. I'm really looking forward to hearing her 2017. So. Go ahead. No, don't worry, Garth. We're going to go Garth, Scott, Jake. Yeah, we're going to go clockwise.
I'm going to pick my favorite.
Oh, yeah. Garth.
I'm willing to go last because I'm the new guy.
Garth, please.
All right. Well, lots of great comic book movies this year that I loved. So, most people might think I go with one. But I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Logan as my pick. I just really loved how this sort of brought this end to the whole Hugh Jackman as Wolverine saga. There were some hits and misses along the years, and many of the movies he was in. He was in some great ones and some bad ones, but Logan was a nice end to the character. More of a Western than superhero movie. Obviously, it shows Shane, references Shane, quote Shane. So it was a truly beautiful movie, and Patrick Stewart is great in it as an end to his character as well.
Another very emotional ending as well.
It's a very much, if you didn't cry, you're a monster.
Yeah, that's another one. This is a top 5 comic book movie for me of all time. This movie is great. I'm a huge Westerns guy. And with James Mangold having already done a really good Western with the 3:10 to Yuma remake, it was very much in his wheelhouse, and he absolutely knocked it out of the park. Another incredible child performance by Daphne Keane. Absolutely fantastic. I think this movie is great, and I know Garth is gonna pick a comic book movie, but at least he picked one that's like actually deserving of the accolades.
One that people like.
There's another comic book movie I absolutely love that came out this year.
Me too.
Couldn't be much more different from Logan.
That's probably what Malcolm's gonna pick.
But yeah, great pick. I'm not the biggest comic book guy, and this one is like this is the one you can put in like the Winter Soldier, like a few other like superhero movies where you can say I'm not the biggest comic book person, but Logan, that is like, and for sure. I still haven't seen Shane. I need to see Shane because I hear like that's why I hear, and like, I'm very curious to see how much they line up. So man, Patrick Stewart in this movie. I did my internship at the Alzheimer's Association, and I swear he must have just went to Alzheimer's groups and went with the individuals who it was so authentic. It was haunting. And for the movie not to get bogged down in that and become just a cry fest every time you saw Patrick Stewart is a feat of directing by James Mangold that like required such a deft hand. Anytime you went into that dome, that's just like, it felt like going into a hospice room. Like, like it was very, very real for such a unbelievable story. I love that Logan was like an Uber driver, essentially. Like that whole opening was just dope. That was like better than any moment in John Wick ever. I could have just watched like a day in the life of Logan, the Uber driver, and kept watching.
Gets to prom or something.
Yeah, it really justified the R rating. And this is just like a period where I hope we get back to with superhero movies where they were really trying to be different and telling their own stories. And I feel like we got away, and then we got into this like sameness at once like Endgame and Infinity War happened that I hope we break back away with Black Widow. I hope that New Mutants is its own fucking story. I love that they're not.
I was gonna say New Mutants, please save us.
I still believe in New Mutants because they're not doing any reshoots, so they're actually doing the movie that was supposed to come out. I still believe in New Mutants.
I believe in the Demon Bear saga.
Yeah, so exactly. So, but great pick. I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts on Logan. Malcolm, you looks like you have some thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more I can say that hasn't already been said, really. I just recently rewatched Logan. It still holds up to this day. It's a much better superhero movie than Dark Knight. I stand by that all day, every day.
Okay. Haley?
Yeah, I watched it last week, and it's still moving, still haunting, and just a really good watch.
I mean, moving it to the X, the cross to the X, like, woof.
And
not to just like be an eye-rolling, stupid fucking shit like symbolism. It was so not that. Like I'm very cynical sometimes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was a masterpiece. Like I almost clapped at the end of that movie. My whole theater clapped. I don't clap at movies because they can't hear you. But like I almost clapped at that one.
And
With the rest of my audience.
Logan and Winter Soldier are great entry point movies because they're more, like one's a Western and one's this like, political thriller type more than superhero movies. And I think they're good entry points for people who are like, I don't like comics.
Yeah, I agree. Any other thoughts on Logan before we move on? All right, we are at the 3:10 mark. I am very proud of myself for somehow not doing this once again. Tony, once again, thank you so much for allowing these streams to go on. They make me way too happy, and I hope they make a few other people out there happy. I know that at the beginning of the stream, I felt a lot shittier. If anybody was tuning in at the beginning, I feel a lot shittier than I do now. Christina, I hope you're feeling better out there in the comments as well. So, but overall, Scott, your 2017 film, your favorite has not been picked yet, right?
Yes, I was going to say, can we have a moment of silence for the first time?
Okay, so Jake, go ahead and go
next.
Jake and Haley and Malcolm, and you. No, go ahead, Scott.
Well, I have 4 or 5 from this year that I really love. So even if it had gotten taken, I would have been chill. But my number one from this year is also my number one A24 movie and one of my favorite movies, and that is The Florida Project. This movie is a masterpiece. I think that I love that this movie sheds light on we've talked some about representation and stuff earlier. I think this is another movie that sheds light on a population, a group of people that exist but don't really get their say in pop culture, and that's these lower class people who are living on the edge of success, basically. Literally they're on the edge of Disney World living in this rundown motel. And I just think Sean Baker has such a great eye, he has such a realistic eye. He makes the movie feel so realistic, and the whole seeing it through the eyes of a child aspect of the movie, I think allows you to experience the joys. That's the thing. It sounds like a depressing movie, and there are definitely some really tough parts to watch, but there are also these little joys in the movie that he focuses on too, getting an ice cream cone or something like that, or when they stare at the woman who's laying out at the pool, just those little things. I think by framing it through the eyes of the child, we're able to see the highs and lows of this lifestyle. And yeah, he just really humanizes every character. I think when I saw the movie in theaters, I came out of the theaters and there was a woman in the lobby I will never forget who was oh, the mother was just so awful. Their life would have been so much different if not for the mother. And I was how did you just watch that and miss the entire point of the movie? Yeah. But I think that Bria Benante, who plays the mother, is really fantastic too. But obviously Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe in this movie. He is wonderful, and should have won an Oscar for the scene where he talks to the pelican outside the motel, which is only a 30-second scene. But he's okay, guys, you need to go on. And there's also another great scene where he there's a pedophile who comes to the motel and is talking to all the kids, and he leads him over and buys him a soda and then throws the soda at him. I love The Florida Project. It's just one of those movies that makes you feel alive, and that's what I look for in movies, and so it's one of my favorites.
I mean, that was just perfect. Well said. I can't have anything said there. That's how you're supposed to talk about your favorite movie.
What he said. This movie's great.
That's what he said. It feels this movie feels like a documentary. I know it's really, really cheesy, but I feel like a documentary on this subject, pretty much the same as this film in a lot of ways, or at least covers a lot of the same subjects and themes overall. Willem Dafoe is great, completely great, and this is one of these movies where I feel really bad for people who missed the point on it, and it's the reason this movie was made. also.
Yeah,
as people.
Sean Baker is also a great follow on Letterboxd. If you don't follow him, he is on Letterboxd and posts a lot, and he'll like actually review stuff.
And he follows back. He does follow back.
Oh, he didn't follow me back. What the heck?
You gotta become a Patreon member.
I'm gonna suck up to him in the comments on every single review. Like, I love the Florida Project.
It only took like 3 reviews for me to break him down finally. But
All right, fine.
We'll see if we can get him on with Greta Gerwig and who else was watching?
Michael Keaton, yeah.
Michael Keaton, yeah. Michael Keaton, Sean Baker, you know.
There you go.
But yeah, anybody else have any thoughts on Florida Project? Haley looked like you had some things to say.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you hadn't seen it? Okay.
Just the thing made me giggle.
Okay, my bad. Has anybody else seen? Jake, you've seen this movie? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean Scott said it all. This movie's fantastic. Another incredible child performance, which is seems to be a theme
Brooklyn
of this
Prince.
particular stream. Another all-time great child performance.
Great point.
So yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and Jake, you can go into your 2017 selection then.
Okay, I have a very clear top 4.
Okay, well, give me your top 4.
Yes, but I'm going to pick the one that if it's not picked, it will be an absolute crime, and I'm going to pick Get Out.
Okay. Nice choice.
Yeah, it has to be said because this is one of the most influential movies of the decade. I don't think that is a controversial statement. It's the arrival of another incredible voice, and I mean, it's not as surprising as you think that Jordan Peele would make a great horror movie. If you watch Key and Peele, it's clear that he loves horror movies just from watching Key and Peele. So, but to come out of the gate with a premise this incredibly strong is it's rare, and just the storytelling is just every beat is perfect. Daniel Kaluuya, just what an incredible breakout by Daniel Kaluuya. I'd already seen him in 15 Million Merits, the Black Mirror episode, but this was like another level for him. And I don't think there's been better casting in a movie this decade than Allison Williams in that particular role, because that is exactly how everybody thinks of her.
Yeah.
Based on her character from Girls, and it's just absolutely pitch perfect casting. She absolutely knocks it out of the park. Bradley Whitford, my guy from Cabin in the Woods, and I mean West Wing, but I love him from Cabin in the Woods. Yeah, that little thing called West Wing and Billy Madison. But yeah, Bradley Whitford is just the perfect liberal douche middle-aged person who would vote Obama for a third term.
Yep.
He could. It's just an iconic line. The sunken place is one of the most ingenious inventions that I can remember. It's just become the shorthand for so much that's going on in the world. And yeah, I just think that it's sort of set impossible expectations for him for whatever he does next. I really like Us, but it just pales in comparison to Get Out for me. And this is just one of the better debuts that we've seen, and I just think this movie is extraordinary and deserves all the praise.
Yeah. Anybody have any thoughts on Get Out?
Yeah. I mean, I thought Get Out is a great movie. I personally think that Us is a much better movie, but I think Get Out is a good movie. They're very close to.
Haley, any thoughts on Get Out?
This is a movie, and you've used this term before, and I think this is the one movie that doesn't do it, and this movie got interneted to death without being interneted to death. It got the perfect, the memes made about it were actually didn't take away from the movie. It actually just made the movie that much better.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen that happen with the movie before. Usually when that happens, the movie gets run to the ground. It's ruined. This only made the movie better because it was just so on topic for everything going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Also, Childish Gambino doing This Is America. He took inspiration from scenes in Get Out for his music video. And if you haven't watched that, what are you doing with your life? But it's just a very instant classic. I think it's going to hold up well in decades to come, and definitely one of those you gotta watch movies.
Arguably my favorite Childish Gambino song plays at the beginning of this movie. I love Redbone. It's a fantastic song.
Yeah.
Just stay woke.
Yeah, I mean, that's Garth. What are your thoughts on Get Out?
Yeah, I agree with Redbone is a fantastic song. Listen to it. Yeah, and Get Out, it's a really important movie, and like Jake said, an amazing debut. You see the skits and sketches, and you think, maybe he'll do like a goofy comedy, but nope, this is what he comes out with. And as a white guy who likes to drink tea, I was like, oh damn.
It ruined tea for this white guy.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway from Get Out. Scott.
This is a great movie. Yeah. I think the social commentary aspect of it is like incredible and like innovative, and I like that it's starting to influence movies already. Like the Invisible Man this year, like I thought was a really interesting, like the way that it was actually a movie about like domestic abuse, like and Me Too and stuff, was like really interesting. And I don't think that movie could have necessarily been made that way without Get Out, and the way that they showed you can do a horror movie and the social commentary. I think that the actual horror elements of the movie are a bit less successful for me, and that's why it's not one of my like absolute favorites. But again, I love the influence of it, and I think that the social commentary is like right on point. Because like Jake says, it goes for like the slightly more difficult target of like middle-aged liberals, instead of going for like the conservative that would be like a super easy target or whatever for this type of movie. I think they're showing a different side to like systemic racism, which is really interesting.
Yeah. And this is a movie where I'm really glad they didn't go with the dark, ultra realistic ending. I think that would have completely missed the mark for me. And and I love Lil Rel. Is that the name?
Yes.
Yeah. I love Lil Rel. He's like the perfect best friend, and like just the imagery of the sunken place. After it's introduced, you forget a world ever existing without that concept in it of like the sunken place, and like the way Catherine Keener plays that role is so deliciously like evil and like fucked up. And then shout out to Allison Williams eating Fruit Loops separate from the milk. Like that is fucking chilling.
A lot of people said that, and I'm like, wait, I like cereal with separately.
And I like how they brought that into Us. I love how that was the connecting thread between Us and Get Out, was how they ate the cereal in that movie. Also. Yeah. It's like it's a perfect little Easter egg there. Great choice. Get Out. So we're on to Mr. Malcolm, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, my favorite movie of this year is not a superhero movie, is what everyone's predicting. But it stars Christopher Plummer. It stars Jamie Foxx. It stars Ansel Elgort. I love Baby Driver.
I see what you did there.
This is a fun movie, and I think this is one of those movies in which the music fits. It becomes a character in this movie, and which it fits the action scenes and perfectly. I think the acting is great. Like, depending on what your thoughts are, I usually choose to separate the art from the artist myself, and all the acting in this is great. And yeah, it's a fun heist movie. Kirk might want to think differently about it, but
that's okay. I think that we have at least one person on here who is a little bit of a fan of Baby Driver. so we won't go to her and talk. Haley, what's your thoughts on Baby Driver?
No, this is literally my favorite movie of all time. I watched it with the friend who had me watch Coco. We saw it in theaters, and ever since then, it has become my absolute favorite comfort movie. Specifically, I've had some of my absolute worst kind of emotional days or nights. I usually wind down by watching Baby Driver, and just the line, "I want to head west on 20 with a car I can't afford, with a plan I don't have." It's just such a good classic line. And specific anecdote to the movie. When I saw Baby Driver, I saw it in theaters with my childhood best friend and her boyfriend. I was a third wheel, didn't feel like the third wheel because we're great friends. But anyway, the Michael Myers scene comes up, and me and her boyfriend, she's in the middle, are sitting there cracking up way too loud in tears, and she's sitting in between us, so absolutely embarrassed and shaking her head because she's like, "This is what does it for you." But yeah, absolute favorite movie. I'm so mad you picked it, but I'm also super happy you picked it because that means someone else loves it almost as much as I do, if not as much.
Yeah. This is a great one. I was rooting for it. It almost made it, so I tested the faith here, but yeah, good job, Malcolm. Malcolm, whenever he likes a good movie, it always shakes me up a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like going to re-examine.
I like a lot of good movies.
Yeah, no, you really do. I think it's a false assumption about you. Just like some real trash too. So good for you. You do you, homie. But yeah, this soundtrack is a soundtrack I've been listening to a lot over the last couple of weeks. And it is a really fun one to make you keep moving to, and just like, yeah, it's got classic after classic. It is a character in the movie, as cliche as that sounds. So yeah, great choice. Anybody else have any thoughts on Baby Driver here?
I do.
Yeah, I like you, Aaron. It's the soundtrack, the movie soundtrack I've listened to probably the most ever. It's that and probably Kill Bill Volume 1 for whatever reason. But yeah, I listened like when I had to go, I would like go to the library and like go job hunting, and I would just, while I'm on my computer sending out applications, I would have the Baby Driver soundtrack in my head, in my earphones. And the opening, Haley was just trying to say this, the opening scene, I like the movie a lot, but the rest of the movie can't match the opening scene because the opening scene is so remarkable. I think it might be the best. It might be the best Edgar Wright opening scene, and there's stiff competition for that, but just the perfect blend of music and action, and the rest of the movie tries but can't quite match that. Even though I do still really enjoy it, I'm a huge Edgar Wright fan. But this would probably be my least favorite of his, but that's such a high standard.
Okay. All right. Any more thoughts on Baby Driver before we put this one in the crib?
Yeah, I really love this. Probably, right up there in my favorite Edgar Wright. And for people who are a fan of this, check out the music video for Mint Royale's Blue Song from 2003. I had to look it up because I was blanking on the name. This is where Edgar Wright directed the music video and first got the idea. Like Bell Bottom was the original idea, but this music video is the opening to Baby Driver. Noel Fielding is the driver. He asks the bank robbers how much time it'll take to rob the bank, and
Greg
through and picks out a song, puts it in the player, and they rob the bank and come back. And it's wonderful to see this origin of, like, way back in 2003. He had already been working on the ideas for Baby Driver. Brilliant movie.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts, Haley, before we move on from your favorite movie of all time?
Just a couple fun facts. Edgar Wright had the idea for that movie since 1995. Ansel Elgort was the one who picked Brighton Rock to be his hype song. And what was I going to say? He got to keep the red Subaru at the beginning. And what was I going to say? The Barbra Streisand joke, Jamie Foxx single-handedly approved because he's good friends with Barbra Streisand.
There we go.
Flex.
There we go.
Mom.
Anybody else have any fun facts, or can we move on to Haley's second favorite movie, one of her favorite movies of all time, so I don't feel that bad? So, what's your second favorite movie of 2017, Haley?
Okay, so this is also in my top 5 movies of all time, and it's there entirely for technical reasons. It is the movie Atomic Blonde. Ever since the Red Band trailer came out, I was in love with it, and I had to see it.
Scorching.
The storyline, the more you watch it, the more it kind of falls apart. But technically, it is a gorgeous movie. The soundtrack is my absolute favorite soundtrack of all time. Mm-hmm. And the 13-minute fight scene tracking shot is insane. It goes from a stairwell into a car, all in the same shot. And the effects are just brutal in it. Most of them, I believe, are practical. The acting is beautiful. James McAvoy, this is one of my favorite roles by him, and I have a lot of roles of James McAvoy that I love. Charlize Theron, I love her. Sophia Botella's great. Seeing Toby Jones, who is one of the greatest character actors of the decade, I would say. He was really great to see. And even though I'm not a huge fan of the storyline, everything else is just so good that I could go on this movie for hours.
The soundtrack is incredible.
Yeah.
So great.
It's one of the better.
What's his name?
And I like that she picked another comic.
George Michael. There's a fight scene to George Michael. That's all.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's one of the best pairings of song to a fight scene ever. It's just father figure is just so perfect for that, and the choreography of that is brilliant. Her running out of the window and jumping down and pulling the guy to stop her. Everything you said about it is true. Though it might not even close to my top 5 of all time. But yes, the fight choreography, the look, the music. But yes, the story is a total mess.
I will say the story is much better in the comics.
Of course.
Yeah, it
Usually
tickles
is, yeah.
really little from the comics.
You would say that.
Well, yeah, I need to revisit this movie probably with you at some point, just because I've heard more about Atomic Blonde in the last couple weeks of knowing you than I have in the last few years. Like, this movie gets brought up like I bring up 7 or 8 movies that I'm not going to bring up right now.
I gotta say, I was stunned. It's Atomic Blonde, and for the music in it, I don't recall Blondie's Atomic.
Yeah, that was like fastball right down the middle.
I believe it was used in advertising for some of the trailers.
Okay. In advertising, all right.
All right. So yeah, fair enough. So I just was getting a message from my mom. My mom's in the hospital right now, but she's doing better. She's doing better. So yeah. Yeah. So it was good news here. And I'll talk to her tomorrow. But we have come to the end of the stream at 3 hours and 33 minutes. But before we get there, any honorable mentions for 2017? Look at Tony.
Tony's still awake.
It is 3:30 in the morning right now? 3 in the morning? 2:40 right now. So first of all, Tony, if you could bring up that Ko-fi link in case anybody didn't see it. If you want to show your thanks for Tony, I follow this link a lot. I get it. It's COVID time. It's a tough. But if you got a couple bucks to spare here, it's a way to really show some gratitude to Tony here. I know I appreciate him more by each one of these streams. Everybody looks less depressed by the end of the stream except Tony, who is literally behind the scenes, like just like tuning into every like tuning all these messages in, and like I just appreciate that. So Tony, what's your favorite movie of 2017?
I don't know.
You don't care. Okay, cool.
Tony's like, what's movies?
Yeah. Tony just wants to go. Before we go though, if there's any honorable mentions, I'm gonna just shout out my quick honorable mentions. They're very, very different movies. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, one of my favorite Marvel movies, MCU movies of all time. I love Cat Stevens, so as some of you may know. So,
Gee, I wonder why.
This movie had, yeah, exactly. If you don't know that, then you haven't seen my favorite movie or one of my favorite movies ever, and that's okay too. If it doesn't make you cry, that's also okay. But it should have made you cry if hypothetically you've seen it recently. But that's okay. Father and Son in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is amazing. Blade Runner 2049, fucking sublime. Just
that movie goes well with some French onion soup.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything and more. This movie just takes the original and it's like, what if a better director directed the story? And that's what we saw. Go ahead and point me and say Denis Villeneuve is not better than Ridley Scott, and I'll say you're wrong. So, but
Are you sure you're not thinking of Tony Scott?
Yeah, I said both of them combined aren't better than Denis.
I like how you say that as I'm wearing this.
Happy Death Day. I will be talking about the sequel to Happy Death Day 2.
Oh, interesting.
Because I prefer the sequel. But those are my honorable mentions. Anybody else have any honorable mentions before we let Tony out of his bottle?
I'm just going to.
We'll go with Jake, then Malcolm. We'll just go around in order here. So Jake, just real quick.
So I said I had a very clear top four. Phantom Thread. Yes. Again, PTA, just top of his game. Lady Bird, one of the better coming of age movies of recent memory, and shout out to the birthday girl Greta. You another incredible debut in addition to Jordan Peele. She was robbed. She was robbed as well. More for Little Women, honestly, but that's a different story. And then my actual favorite movie of 2017, Aaron, this is going to piss you off because you seemingly hate this guy, but to me, Dunkirk is Christopher Nolan's best movie. Because it's not 2.5 hours. There's no dead wife. There's no like overlong exposition of some convoluted thingamajiggy that's happening. It's just a lean, mean machine, this movie. There's no ounce of fat on it. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It doesn't matter if you don't know any of the characters' names. You're just there with them, and you're just trying to survive just like them. This movie is like a thrill ride, and I was absolutely blown away by it. I think this is Nolan at his peak.
He realized he can't write female characters, so he was like, I'll just make a movie that has no female characters, except for the women like serving tea to the soldiers as they get on the ship.
Yeah.
I agree.
I just, again, you can say this with every single Christopher Nolan movie. It's so great, technically. How are the characters, though? Is there any? This is
the one movie where it doesn't matter.
Do any of the characters
has emotional resonance? I honestly.
Do any of the characters in any of his movies have a pulse, like a heart?
Oh yes.
Like I don't see it, and that's
Mark
what
Rylance.
That's what keeps me.
Mark Rylance incredible. Kenneth Branagh in this movie.
Dunkirk, I feel like is his most emotional movie, actually.
No, Interstellar is the most emotional.
Oh yeah. Oh, true. Yeah, okay. But that was him trying so hard to have heart.
Yes.
Whether you feel it or not, that was what he was going for.
But like Inception, it's what keeps me from loving Inception. It's a technical marvel, but it's just
Good plug, Tony. I was there.
Yeah, if I was on there, Nolan would have been my first out by a mile.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah. Malcolm, your honorable mentions here.
So for me, like my mentions, I've got Wonder Woman, I really do enjoy the take on the character. Like, despite what people say about the third act, I actually do enjoy the third act myself, but each to their own. And the other one I do like is Spider-Man: Homecoming. I think that's really fun. Like, I get all the criticisms by they're turning him into Iron Man Light and all that. I think it like the MCU has gotten the Spider-Man character correct, right, with Tom Holland just being the perfect Peter Parker and the quippy Spider-Man that we all like, and it just works.
Yeah, I agree. Haley, any of your honorable mentions besides your 2 of your 5 favorite movies of all time?
So John Wick 2, which, fun fact about that movie, Keanu Reeves and Charlize Theron actually were training at the same time, same location for Atomic Blonde and John Wick 2.
Yep.
Also the movie Thor Ragnarok, the best Thor movie, the only great Thor movie, I would even go to say.
They shouldn't have spoiled Hulk in it in the trailers. I couldn't even avoid that spoiler, which if I was sitting down in a theater and didn't know that was happening, I get it. We live in an internet where it's impossible, but how cool would that moment have been if you didn't know it was coming? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
agree.
It would have been one of the greatest, if not the greatest moment in the MCU's history. But because it was showing the trailers, it takes away its legs.
Tessa Thompson's amazing in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So is Taika as whatever Korg.
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm made of ropes.
I send out pamphlets.
You see my friend Nick?
Yeah. Garth, any honorable mentions left for you?
Yeah, most of the other people's honorable mentions were mine, like the superhero ones, the Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Ragnarok, Guardians, all that. Other ones that I would say I really loved for the year, Paddington 2.
Thank you. Someone had to mention
Paddington. You gotta love that bear. A bear and the bear in jail. Come on. You know,
Grant's best performance.
Yeah. And then let's see here. I got to go with Colossal, Anne Hathaway and Jason Sudeikis. Really unique movie. Really, like, you don't see what's happening, and then it all comes together, and it's the most unique monster movie ever, I think. And then what was the other one? Oh, Dave Made a Maze. It's a real low budget movie. And it's very interesting. It's about a guy who builds this cardboard maze in his thing, and it has an otherworldly thing. Once you enter it, it's another world. And him and his friends are in there. And just watch a trailer for Dave Made a Maze. And then
I will not. I'll just watch the movie. But thank you very much for that offer. Scott, any honorable mentions? And we are at an all-time record, 3 hours and 41 minutes. Yeah, there's only one way to go from here, Tony. Up. 4 hours next stream. 4 hours next stream. 4 hours next stream.
Tony, you being here is making it longer.
So as much as I love Florida Project, my close second is Columbus, which is an amazing indie movie. Very small, like quiet movie, but stars like 2 of one of the most underrated actors, John Cho and Haley Lou Richardson. They're both amazing in the movie, and it's just about them in this small town in Indiana that's known for its architecture, and like the cinematography is really great, and it's just like a great, like, beautiful movie about like people following their dreams. So definitely check that one out. It's great. Dunkirk was mentioned. I, Tonya, fantastic. Margot Robbie, incredible. Some people like hate the needle drops in the movie. I think the needle drops are like fantastic. All of the music cues are so good in the movie, and I like that.
Sebastian Stan is so good in this.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable.
I want to punch him in the face in that movie so often that it makes me love him as an actor.
Yes.
He has the greatest pickup line ever when he just the first thing he says to her is, "So you like food?"
I've used that line before. It works.
And then Yeah, Tony mentioned Happy Death Day, which is fantastic. It's one of the most rewatchable movies to me. It's so fun, and Jessica Roth is great in the movie. And then the last one I will say, I will just drop this bomb in the middle of the stream, and then we'll all walk away. As The Last Jedi is great.
Yes.
All right. And
Thank you.
Said,
Good night,
thank
everyone.
you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Scott's opinions do not reflect any of ours. Tony, do you have anything to say before we sign off here, or did you just fully give up?
No. Go watch Champs Lunch. Last episode that came out just before the throwdown, and also go watch Full Metal Random. They had a match today with Garth in it and someone else. Don't forget anyone else says anything. Go watch Fight Bananas if you're into UFC.
Thank you very much.
I'm prepared for the 4-hour stream.
Yeah. 2
Well, there's only 2 years next time. So
2 weeks from now, we're gonna have some surprises. Don't worry, I'm gonna be talking to Tony about how we can make sure to achieve our goals here. So don't worry, stay tuned in a couple weeks for some surprises, though. On Now Showing, the Favorite Film Podcast. Thank you all for joining. I love you all, especially Tony, and have a great night. Stay safe and adios.